have become. He's at least holding on to everything. King G8, Magnus is running out of ideas.
King G1, wow. Okay, no, Alireza keeps trying to make improving moves, although, as you said, very committal. This is very committal. Committal in chess just meaning you don't have to do that right now, and you can't take it back. Pawns don't go backwards.
If he gets mated, we'll say that it was a long-term mistake.
Queen A7. Now I'm looking at infiltration ideas.
Queen A7, you could, rook C2, nice move.
Oh, the queen is kind of stuck, yeah?
Black's queen is running out of squares, an isolated pawn suddenly for Magnus.
And queen D4 takes 92, maybe.
Queen D4 would be a Magnus type of move here, but is it enough? White suddenly got everything protected. He's done a great job here of timing it, F4, to block out the black bishop, and knight E4 now, the best minor piece by a mile.
Oh, this is spiraling very quickly for black. Now he's somehow running out of moves.
Fantastic news for Alireza.
He's shaking his head there, Magnus.
Oh,
that's a great move, and he's hitting C7 with that move.
Oh, great move. He's trying to bully black into taking the queens off on Alireza's terms here. At some point, the queens will have to be removed. There we go.
It's a fork.
It's a double attack. The pawns are hit.
And you can't take his rook C8, and that would be game over.
That would have been a deadly pin. Now he can take a timeout, play a move like B3, or does he just continue jumping in with his knight maybe to D6?
Alireza has to win this game. Magnus loses on time.
What happened there? Magnus froze. Magnus panicked. 1-1.
Wow. An emphatic win. That was a great game by Alireza Firouzja. Shout out. I've been told that we have 60,000 concurrent. You've joined at a great time. It's 1-1. Alireza Firouzja getting it done with the white pieces. A very tense game, David. Didn't look so comfortable, but totally outplayed him in the middle game.
Yeah, that was just fantastic maneuvering. Not something we always associate with Alireza, especially when he faces Magnus, but that was a real statement, the way he maneuvered in that middle game. He looked worse. 5-10 moves later, he was just finding all the best moves. And now we go to something that you mentioned in opening yesterday, Levy, the Bogo Indian.
Yeah, actually, if I may take the floor from my significantly stronger host here, can we just back up to the opening? I'd like to showcase literally just move 3 and 4. Bishop B4 check is a disturbance type of move. It's a bit of a sideline. You threaten the king, and then here normally white blocks with the bishop. But if white blocks with the knight, black has many moves, but one of them, which is extremely disrespectful, is just moving the bishop back to a developing square and saying, well, my move was more useful because I'm going to castle, and your knight, all it does is help with pushing in the center, and black generally takes a safe approach. I would like to think Alireza Firouzja saw a game that I played a few weeks ago. He was obviously inspired. I probably lost that game. But anyway, he went E4, and then here black has two choices. I actually like D6. I like to kind of keep it solid. He goes D5, and it's going to be chaos. It's going to be huge tension in the center if we just fast forward a few moves. That's why I don't like this position. Too chaotic for me, David. But look at this. There's a knight going to G5 now on the live board, and Magnus is just looking to checkmate his young opponent.
Wow, yeah, if we catch up, the center has exploded. White has sacrificed a pawn, but the double D pawn's not too relevant right now. And yeah, this is scary. Scary, scary. E6 is coming. H7 is hanging. The queen is also about to enter. She's poised.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this happened last time they played last year. Alireza would win, and then just like totally spin out of control in the next game. Like, you got to stabilize, and he goes for a different line, and now he's under such risk. Pawn takes knight, queen check. The king's going to run to the center, I imagine. I can't imagine it's going to go to F8, but I mean, this is a headache position to play.
Yeah, this looks like something you're taught not to do when you're first learning the rules of chess. Just to point out for everyone at home, you couldn't have blocked because bishop takes G6 was possible, and the H8 rook would have been undefended. And yeah, this is beautiful compensation, both positional and dynamic. The black king is never going to be safe.
Absolutely. There's not going to be massaging of the position in this game like there was in the first game that Magnus was with the white pieces, slow maneuvering and then one endgame mistake. No, here, the dynamics of the position require white to play aggressively, just like in the previous game. He is down a pawn, but he has to rely on rook c1 and b4, because if he waits too long, David, it's just going to be bad news in the endgame.
Exactly. The queen drops back for now, but he will be preparing some action very, very shortly. Levy, I have to ask, like that scramble, Magnus flagging, yes, he was in trouble, but is that a sign that Alireza just needs to survive, just prolong the games? Do you think mouse speed, he's the favorite?
I saw a post yesterday. It wasn't something Magnus said, it was something Hikaru said. He said he and Magnus have discussed that in a long bullet match, Alireza's a heavy favorite against both of them. Now, does he mean 1+0, which is a different format than we play, and obviously not the same as in a scramble? Does he mean 4 o'clock at night? Like, what time of the day are you playing? Does he mean after taking care of a baby or not, right? There's certain criteria here at play. But yes, in a scramble, I would take Firouzja. But it also depends on the position, right? And okay, Magnus lost one scramble. It's all right. His position already was looking difficult. His position does not look difficult here, but he still has to apply pressure in the right way.
Yeah, pressure now on that bishop. It was hit, had to retreat. Pressure maybe soon on the pinned black knight. A typical Magnus move would be to play like g3, king g2, maybe f4, just build a pawn chain. Maybe g3, h4. There we go, h3. Sorry, h4 coming. He can just sit. He's got a bind.
Yes.
Black can barely move.
Speaking of which, that plan just looks absolutely problematic for black. If white just decides, okay, all of your pieces are committed to the left side, the queen side, and in the center, who is going to take care of the right side of the board? One of white's rooks is going to infiltrate via the h-file. That could be, and Firouzja does not like where this is going. He's immediately kind of neutralizing the position, not letting the pieces move. Maybe he's going to advance with the b-pawn or try to bring his knight in.
Yep, the knight later could maybe maneuver around via a5 into a better square. Oh, you were looking at knight takes pawn ideas there, but for now, white's rook's poised to jump in on the c-file. He challenges that line. Yeah, he's finding good squares for his pieces, Alireza, but still, what next? And there we go. Magnus is just being super consistent. Big question, though. Knight takes pawn.
Could there be a move like rook f5 at some point to just give up the rook, but without a light-squared bishop blocking the position? Actually, white's position looks pretty bad.
Yeah, great idea. And bishop takes might be something Magnus wants to avoid there. I think the question would be, what if Magnus just ignores and just connects all of his pawns? But yeah, definitely something to keep in the bank for later.
Just goes to show the relative value of the light-squared bishop for white. It's probably a 4-point piece at this point, and giving it up for a rook would be not a good idea.
Levy, I think he's calculating now, Alireza. He's still got 2 minutes. Of course, he's timed down. He always seems to be against Magnus, but knight takes e5, making use of the fact that the white queen is kind of overloaded here. Defending her bishop, defending her pawn. Oh, he doesn't go for it. He shuffles his king away.
That's an incredible idea. That's an idea you could very easily be blind to with white. Your opponent suddenly crosses the king through the line of fire. If the king gets to b8, suddenly you don't feel like you're in control of the game anymore.
That's fantastic. It was not on my radar at all. Looks just so counterintuitive to step into potential pins here. But white can't really make use of it yet. The rook is hit. That will move. Maybe now your rook f5 move.
Yeah, why not? Although, as you said, he will not be taking it. Okay, he plays rook f7. Hasn't watched enough Gotham content, obviously.
Oh, now I know why you wanted to play it. But rook f7 instead, also logical. And Magnus defends his bishop. He really wants to liberate his queen at some point. Maybe go hunting for the weak, undefended e6 pawn. Just defending his bishop in the meantime.
And that pawn is terribly weak, it's important to add. King goes to b8. Now, if queen g4, knight takes e5, it looks promising, but you really have to calculate, is that pawn hanging at all because of your king in the corner?
Yeah, rook takes rook would be an answer, and a queen would come in with a check. So black's knight cannot really move right now, unless it's going to retreat back to d8. Ugly square, there we go. The bar rises.
What?
Oh, he's dropping his pawn. He's dropping his extra pawn. Magnus can take on d4 if he wants. I don't even know if he wants that pawn. Not going anywhere.
Yeah, but what else? Like, at some point, you kind of have to cash in. Maybe he'll give a check first. Maybe he'll... Okay.
Retreat his bishop.
He's also giving up a pawn, but you can't quite take it because bishop takes g6 would come in, or maybe even something better than that, yes. The rook is protected by the other bishop.
Yeah, everything's holding on to each other. The queen, therefore, forced back. Magnus can try to repeat the position by bringing his bishop back. That's a great blockader, but does he have something better? He probably doesn't want to trade off the queens just to win his pawn back right now. That would alleviate a lot of the pressure on black's position.
But there would be a hanging pawn on a4. So maybe he does want to do that. And he is one of the best in the world, if not the best, at seizing the moment of simplifying to the exact endgame that he wants.
That is true. What mood is Magnus in? He did win the previous game by trading queens early. Here we see his position repeats itself, and of course he doesn't repeat. Magnus is playing for the win. h5. He's going for that plan of undermining black's pawns here. That's where he's strongest. He's got the pawn majority, long-term, endgame, pass pawns. Levy, I like white's chances. The black pieces just look so stuck.
Oh, for sure. And the advancement of f4, g4, g5, f5 in the long run is going to be a real problem as well. Really, for Firouzja, the lack of time will come back to bite. You just can't make good moves under such a time constraint over the course of 10 to 15 minutes. But Magnus still has to turn the screw a little bit. Like, he can't, okay, he brings the bishop back. He's just threatening to take a pawn.
Greed is sometimes good, and that pawn is quite an important one. It would create a passed G pawn for white. You can take it now. Not only that, but once you take it, you can go behind sometimes. You can almost try and trap this rook.
And there's no king a7. King a7, it looked like he was trying to run the king to the outskirts of the board, but white could maybe even just take the pawn in the center. Queen takes, bishop 2e3 winning, and not even rook d4, rook a4. Everything would be falling apart. Alireza is in serious trouble here of going down for a second time.
Oh, beautiful play. This is so calm and composed from Magnus, and he is almost trapping this rook. Does that rook have any safe squares to use? Shout out to our audience who are enjoying this positional squeeze right now, but I think that rook is gone, Levy. The bishops are going to catch it.
Oh yeah, that's it. He's going to sacrifice it, but we don't yell that one. That was a sad sacrifice. And Alireza surviving this would be nothing short of a miracle.
Oh, pawns are falling as well. One last try. He hits the white rook. The D pawns are now his only hope, but Magnus so calm, defends his rook. It's almost hopeless. The clock times as well, so one-sided.
Completely dominant third game from Magnus. I thought that was just going to be the end there. You could maybe even take the bishop, although absolutely no need to do that. And that's it.
Magnus gets the win, 2-1. Alireza simply had no answer. It was all about the opening, which just went wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Now, again, he opened things up very aggressively in that opening, and then he didn't react to the dynamics in the proper way. And if you do that, things will go wrong. And we see some stuff going on in the back there. Hopefully everything is all right. A semi-Slav defense is what this is called. I wonder which line Firouzja will choose. There are so many. Okay, he also goes for a G3 setup.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is akin to a Catalan, of course, but black really can grab a pawn on c4 maybe a couple of moves ago, and it was a pure sacrifice. You were not winning that pawn back anytime soon. But of course, theoretical, and now Magnus goes for a temporary pawn sacrifice of his own. This is also well known. If white grabs twice on b5, the black queen is going to come out with a hit on the white knight and a hit on the d4 pawn. So Alireza, will he just trade off now, or will he push forward? He tried to do that as much as he could yesterday against Hikaru. Magnus, though, I wonder why he's shaking his head. He played very well in the last game.
God, who knows? You know what I'm saying? 98% accuracy win, 33-36 on chess.com, but still not happy. You know what I'm saying? He's probably maybe thinking about he had a bad golf day today. I don't know. But what I love about this is that Alireza deliberately goes for some little bit of a sideline in this type of system, and Magnus just immediately has the answer. This is really the problem. You kind of have to play your best openings against him, especially in a longer time control.
Yeah, and this is what I meant about the Queen's Gambit decline. There's so many ways black can play it. Here he transposed back into the semi-Slav. Magnus loves the fianchetto structures himself from the white side. So of course he knows some tricks from the black side too. And remember, knight takes pawn, queen b6, everyone at home. It's not a full pawn sacrifice. Black will win it back. And yeah, time advantage has grown. Alireza does not look happy.
No, he's just sort of improvising. Goes for e4 straight away. He will have an isolated pawn. Magnus doesn't quite believe it. You can sort of see from the facial expression there. Overall, I actually think black is much happier from this opening.
This is not the best Catalan-esque type of position you'll ever see, with the white bishop neutralized on g2. And Magnus now, a very typical idea would be to blockade the isolated pawn. Looks quite healthy. We saw one in the previous game where Alireza sacrificed, but got some attacking chances early. This is far from that.
This does feel like the last match. When Alireza starts freestyling the positions a little bit, maybe the rook is going to come to the middle. Okay, the knight drops back. But at this point, it just looks like white is going to try to trade the center pawn.
Yeah,
He can't quite do that.
d5, not going to be easy to achieve. Black would have stepped back the queen onto this diagonal, hence why white decides to block the light squares. Maybe it is coming, though. How to stop it now? It would attack the black queen.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. You can sort of tell there from the reaction. He looks like he just hunted, wild crocodile somewhere. Like he looks like he walks barefoot in a jungle somewhere. You know, like those channels that pick up snakes from water. It just looks like what he got finished doing. And clearly, he didn't like something about queen f3. He doesn't like the fact that d5 is coming, as you said, and he doesn't have enough time now. He can't get the blockade in the center, so yeah, that's not really what he wanted to play.
No, and advantage gone if there was one for Magnus. He's actually going back in the position, Levy. Look at that. He's going back thinking, how could I have chosen a better move order?
Yeah, you're allowed to, by the way, go back in your own game. You know, that's fine. You can click back, except when Magnus does it, it's a small positional error. For the rest of us, it's usually more dire. D5 now is basically forced. It is not stoppable. White controls that with the knight, the queen, and the rook. And actually, when that whole trade goes down, well, White has no problems, but I cannot really claim that he has any advantage, although in the long run, his bishop does target a pawn that Black's bishop does not counter on the opposite side.
Yeah, and White will have the better centralization, control of the d-file maybe, or centralized queen. Of course, objectively should be level, but maybe a little something. I think Magnus, the fact he's living the past, regretting his choices, strategically a problem, but also psychologically. There we go. Black would love to, for example, get the queens off the board, but as you said, Levy, a7 is hanging in a lot of these lines, so not full equality yet.
Plus, if Magnus was White here, we would be super hyped.
Exactly.
It's important not to have too many double standards. It's just not really a Firouzja position, but how does Magnus defend a slightly unpleasant endgame, which is where we are? So bishop f6 is a great move. Now White either has to be passive or... That was nice. That was a rook sacrifice for a back rank checkmate. Magnus just blew right past it. And now Firouzja may be pushing the b pawn.
Yeah, somewhere. b3, b4. I quite like it, though. I mean, this pawn is hard to defend, and the white queen, if it moves to a6, the white queen is going to swoop in, try to hit some pawns there. For now, Black is also counterattacking against b2. Oh, he needs to be so accurate now, Firouzja, if he wants to keep this game going. Otherwise, it's going to fizzle out very quickly to a draw.
And we'll be seeing just in how much of a fighting spirit and endgame mood he is. b3. Okay, he goes for a4.
And wow, draw by agreement. He doesn't even try to push there, Alireza. He had time, Levy. The computer actually says that b4 instead of b3, and White had a big advantage, was going to win a pawn.
b4, a6, and I guess you win the pawn?
Queen c6, queen b7, come in, take a6, but...
Why did he not play that? That's not... Yeah.
It's not hard, and White could have slow played it, pushed the pawn to h4, put the king on h2, but we'll never know. Alireza doesn't look too enthusiastic right now. And we're back to a Catalan. Magnus blocks the check with his knight.
See, Alireza against Hikaru did not change his openings all that much. And against Magnus, he has now gone for a different line in the Catalan. And that's not always a good idea, because clearly the last time that they played, the position was okay. It was okay for a while, but he lost. So now he's not going back there at all, when he didn't lose the first game of the match because of the Catalan. He lost it because of a pawn blunder. And so that could really come back to bite. Once you start going to your plan B and C and some of that stuff you haven't reviewed as much, and you walk into some Magnus prep, it's going to go all downhill. He's got to make sure he keeps this match close.
Exactly. This is his plan B. To go to this so early in the match, there's probably a reason that he was playing the other line. He wanted to totally neutralize the Catalan early, as he did against Hikaru. And probably he spent less time, Alireza, studying positions like this. I will mention that Magnus's choice with the knight to d2, the knight now coming to support its fellow piece in the center, this is probably inspired by his former second, Daniel Dubov, who's been playing this for years and years, including against Magnus himself, and having some incredible success with this line with White. Here we go. Alireza challenges the center. Is that going to fully equalize the position?
Looks good, but I will say, getting into a fisticuffs within the Catalan with all the pieces on the board is certainly a choice against the world's leading practitioner. Basically, if Magnus plays the opening, he's the world's leading practitioner, let's put it this way. But he has so much experience in the Catalan, like, he's going to play h2, h4. You can almost bet on that in any Catalan position nowadays. The rooks will come to the middle, and Firouzja has to be good at making those decisions down the stretch in the middle game without letting his time get too low.
Exactly. Big moment. The evaluation bar actually says that Black is doing totally fine, if not a small advantage for Black, but hard to find natural moves, obvious moves, whereas White, you can autopilot the next few. As you say there, just clear that the two rooks need to be improved. Every other piece on great squares, what to do.
There is a tactic on the board.
Ooh. Knight jumps. There's tension between the bishops. Is that where your mind's going to, Levy?
Yes, I was thinking some sort of knight to g6, obviously on the previous move. But now that knight would be covering the fork square on e7. But for some reason, knight c6 has been given a question mark. Clearly, if knight takes c6, Bishop takes c6. The queen is hanging. Queen has to move. Then the bishops see each other. And Magnus very sharp at calculating these transformations, but not this time. Now Firouzja getting away with it a little bit.
We saw red cross levy. I just want to take us back. Another red cross for Alireza. I just want to break these down because it's so deep. I think almost superhuman, the reasons these moves were not given the approval by the engine. After knight c6, white had an incredible move. Knight to c4.
Yeah.
Attacking an undefended pawn, attacking an undefended bishop. And if bishop takes bishop, the Zwischenzug, the in-between move, Levy, he would have won some material. But this was
Queen d8?
so hard to evaluate. This position, exactly. Knight trapped in the corner. The bishop goes somewhere. And apparently just taking pawns, and white is going to be pushing on the queen side.
I see.
Crazy. Unfindable.
Yeah, you have pawn majority. It looks like you're down 2 pieces for the rook, which is generally bad. But in this case, because your pawns are so strong, they're going to trap the pieces. They're going to promote. You're actually almost completely winning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you found knight c4, I think you deserve to win this game. But in blitz, very, very difficult, especially when you've got natural moves like rook c1 at your disposal there. But rook to e8, not the best for black either. Queen into b5. Oh, Magnus is given a double question mark. Is that queen getting trapped?
Well, if you show me on the screen, I will probably be able to answer your question. But yeah, and then maybe the c-pawn can go to c4 as well. Like, you can just totally shut the doors, and the queen has nowhere to go. There's probably some rook a5, knight a7, etc. But it's a very unpleasant position.
Wow, a4, the only way to try and take advantage of the awkward white queen placement. That is exactly as you mentioned, rook a5. How findable do you think that one is? It is a pawn sacrifice.
Yeah, so I was going to say it all has to do with how confident Firouzja is feeling. He looked at knight d4 and it just works, so he's going for it. But if you believe in your opponent, you will not find moves like a4. Granted, it was nearly impossible. Mm-hmm. This, he probably calculated. He sees that it's 6 on 6 in terms of the pawns, and he's probably fine. He's right. It's equal. He's just not playing for an advantage.
Yep, and black has hanging pawns. You either love them or hate them normally. Do you like them, Levy?
No, I would. Well, am I playing, like, who am I playing? Magnus? You? No, I don't like either color against either of you. But no, if I was playing at my level, I like white's position. I think white's position is much easier to play, even if the computer says -0.2 or whatever. It doesn't feel easy for black. And we'll see how Firouzja deals with it.
Exactly. He's gaining space, kicking Magnus's queen back. That queen would have been trapped for everyone at home if it had sat in the center by the black rook coming to a6. So it's being forced all the way home. And yeah, very tense position. I'm going to say it's just in the balance now.
Yeah, for sure. I like the a-pawn controlling the queen side, the a3 and b2 pawns left side of your screen. There is a hanging knight in the center of the board. Nobody's taking it or doing anything about it because the white rook would be taking the queen. The black rook is super misplaced. It's like a cow on a highway, just like dead center of the board. It almost feels like you should be moving it back or to the right side so that it attacks, but it's pretty comfortable. And a nice improving move, knight b6. Black is a few moves away, David, I feel like, from maybe even taking over the game, getting the queen out, getting the rook, other rook to the center, and Magnus won't have a target.
Yeah, knight in c4. That would target some backward pawns here. Hit the b-pawn, block the c-file. I agree. Maybe 2 moves, and black is possibly better even. Quite a lot better. So does Magnus have something? Is it something to do with this rook? He can gain a tempo with knight back to f3, but that blocks the white bishop. Can he re-add pressure onto the c-pawn?
I was going to say knight f3, knight e1, knight d3. Ooh. But he didn't go that way. He goes
the wrong way.
And what has he thought about here? Because if the knight moves, e2 hangs. Pawn to d4 here just looks very natural. Your rook is hanging in the corner. Maybe you can take it. Queen e8. We see a blue arrow. Okay, fine. d4 also looks very comfortable because it looks like you can sack that rook in the corner. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's easier to give away Alireza's pieces. That feels like a glue type of move. It's also looking very nice.
Mm-hmm. Looking very nice. And while Alireza amps up the pressure here, puts his pieces on some great squares, shout out to the 85,000 people live watching this, both at home and in our audience today. Phenomenal to see so many passionate people about chess. Magnus does not look happy, Levy. This could be a huge game if Alireza can somehow take it the first time he's been up on the clock at this stage of a game.
Yeah, for sure. He needs to put the pressure, though. 25-second time advantage. As we talked, it went from about 50 down to 25. Everything he's playing looks really rational and logical, but You know, I had a game against them in a very similar setting where everything was dead set, and then he just played like h5. And like, it does feel like Black's last domino here could be some sort of kingside attack, given all of White's pieces are on the first rank, but first he just brings his queen.
Yeah, all of his pieces nicely placed. d4, he's trying to blow up the center, Magnus. Is Black going to push? Is the bishop going to come in?
Yeah, the knight would jump in there, and it is total chaos. Alireza's got to lock in here. It's going to be a 1-minute scramble, all the heavy pieces on the board, and a knight and a bishop.
Big, big moment in this game. He needs to find something special, Alireza. Otherwise, he might be the one on the back foot.
Hey, does d4, f4 just trap a rook?
Whoa, f4 would trap and catch the black rook. That is why he's hitting the bishop. He's hitting the queen here with his bishop, so the white queen will be forced away from covering h5. That is a great spot. There would have been some complications there, maybe some exchange sacrifices, but okay, now d4 may be a bit safer, although still f4 is going to catch this rook in the center.
Oh, I can totally see Alireza just spiraling a bit here, thinking like, oh, d4, f4 just doesn't work. He goes for d4. The rook is trapped, but he gets the knight for it, and just like you said, it's an exchange sacrifice. Wow,
maybe he missed this, Alireza. Magnus has just calmly captured back his knight. So he's a full piece down, Magnus. He's going to get the rook, but this pawn is dropping. Watch out, the black A pawn's going to be so powerful.
This is unbelievably high-level chess. He's grabbed the outside pawn. If he gets 2 more moves, that pawn's going to A2, and the knight moving out of the way would be 3. But then White just is in dire straits. He has to defend.
Oh, Magnus would love to be playing the black side of this position. He loves positional exchange sacrifices. Great move there from Alireza, not taking queens off on White's terms. He defends everything. The A pawn is an ace up the sleeve, despite the material balance.
Rook C8 is nasty. Such a calm move, getting out of the way of the attack and just protecting. The white rooks are completely helpless against the bishop and the knight, and the white bishop just has no participation right now, which is why he does that.
Queen's off the board. The black knight was hit there, drops back, threatens some forks. It's only a minimal material advantage here for White. Exchange for a pawn, but look at that black bishop levy. That pawn, that A pawn is going to be a thorn in the white side for the rest of this game.
And it's got a guaranteed passage to A2 now. A3, A2. He could have went rook A1. He didn't like it. It was a little too passive. Now Alireza can bring his king. He can also just start pushing, moving the rook. He has to trust his instincts here. He does, in fact, bring the king.
It's a long-term advantage for black. There we go. Rook A1 does stop the pawn in its tracks, but for how long? That white rook is going to be passive for ages. How can black improve his pieces?
Now we can't play A3, A2 anymore.
No, no, not yet.
Oh!
Is it turning? The black rook can still go back to A8 at some point to push the pawn. He shouldn't open lines. Alireza cannot afford too many open lines for the white rooks to use later.
Yeah, but what do you do? Because if you play G4, the king comes in. Now there's a guaranteed opening of at least one line.
Ooh, Magnus is the one to block it.
Ooh! Now there's no open lines.
No open lines. That's great news for Alireza, who should maintain the status quo. Keep the pawn structure on that king side. Play on the other side of the board, and White's rook is terrible now, but he's trying to build a fortress, Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, it looks like you kind of have to accept this with black. What else can you do?
Oh, they've repeated the position once. Alireza plays on.
The knight is being repositioned to the b5 square. Look at this.
Oh, nice maneuver. That's going to kick back the white rook, hit the c3 pawn. 2 squares away.
Oh, this is terribly difficult, David. You play king d4, you run into the black rook, then Magnus 5 seconds to make the next decision.
He's lost some time once, Magnus. Will it happen again here? The knight moves. The pawn's going to push.
It's all gone wrong. Apparently that was not even the right plan, even though it looked very obvious. Oh, he's hitting the h7 pawn.
Oh, he's holding everything together, Alireza. He's got control, but can he make progress? Can he break through? What's he doing with his knight there? He's hitting pawns with his rook.
Yes, and bishop c2 is incoming, maybe. Or knight c2.
There we go. The knight traps the rook, and it's going to be a pinned piece, a trapped piece in the corner here for White.
Oh, and that's it. And that's it. He forces the rook trade, and the pawn promotes. Alireza Firouzja winning his second game to level the match at 2.5 apiece.
Beautiful finish. That was incredible. Great technique. He had the pressure levy, but the killer instincts he showed, phenomenal.
He won that game the way Magnus would win that game if the colors were reversed. He took literally, it's like looking into the mirror. That was an incredible game. 2 bounce back from the second loss. Just epic. I don't know what else I can say.
Incredible. Magnus rarely loses with White in that fashion, positionally outplayed. And there we go. Alireza walks out confidently from the arena as the players go on break.
And we will try to get an interview with one of the players. That was just... this is what you asked for the first 5 games of a final. What more can you ask?
High quality chess. We feared the worst, but Alireza showing that he's upped his game in the last couple of years. He means business. We've got a fight on our hands.
All right. 2.5, 2.5 apiece, folks. Both players went back to relax, went back to get some rest. They'll need it to finish the 5+1 segment. That was, well, I said it once, I'll say it again. I don't know how else to phrase it. What more can you ask for? 2.5, 2.5. The 2 wins for Alireza. Flawless positional grinds with both, just incredible. You know what else is incredible? Playing the entire world in a game of chess. And that is exactly what Judit Polgar is doing, folks. So, you have an opportunity to face her. The strongest woman in history and one of the most influential players the game has ever seen. Judit Polgar played the opening move on Friday alongside the debut of her new documentary, Queen of Chess, highly recommend, which was just released on Netflix. If you'd like to join the battle with tens of thousands of players against one of chess all-time greats, use command !play Judit in the chat. As a seasoned veteran of the Versus the World format, this is extremely fun. Get it into the 6 figures, please. Magnus did it, Vishy did it, David Howell has just confirmed with me that he will do it. I put words in his mouth. We are at the Speed Chess Championship in London. 2.5, 2.5. Magnus Carlsen, Alireza Firouzja walked out earlier today and have put on a show for us so far. Halftime in the 5+1 segment. And we are here enjoying it, taking in every moment. They have put on 5 incredible games. We've had losses on time, strategic battles, masterclasses. Folks, we'll be right back.
Busy day. Come on, honey. Oh, man. Eric. Magnus, you gotta be kidding me, man. Don't they know that I'm working? When I'm struggling to get through my day, I rely on Neurogum to give me the energy and the focus that I need to keep up with a busy life. My wife needs me. My kids need me. The kids can wait. Me and DannyBot have got work to do. Feels good to focus on what matters.
Okay, welcome to Hyper Bullet Hot Takes. You have 30 seconds to give your answers. Let's see who debates the best. There is some amount of money in this world where Magnus would be your second Hikaru at the upcoming Candidates Tournament.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Some amount of money that Magnus would be my second candidate. You know, I don't know what that amount is, and I think there would have to be something bigger. I think if I were playing at someone that Magnus really dislikes, there might be a certain American player. Then I think Magnus might do it for a certain amount of money. But for Gukesh, or even just the candidates, I'm not really seeing it. So I don't think there's actually an amount for this one specifically.
I honestly don't think I would be very useful since I have zero experience coaching or anything like that. So if I were to offer my services for any amount of money, I would recommend that Hikaru sticks with his team because he has a very, very good team and I don't think I'd improve it.
Next question. Viral moments like banging the table and throwing the king to the crowd are good for chess.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, there's a lot that I could add for viral moments. I think one thing that's very important to note, I think about Magnus and myself, is we tend to be 2 of the more expressive players. And when you look at people as children, I think you're shaped by your surroundings. And both of us, I think, grew up following sports. And so we've seen sports figures and their emotions, their reactions. And it's very, very good for chess. And I wish more players had that sort of spirit.
Even though we do not yet know his opponent, Gukesh will be an underdog at the next World Championship match.
Yeah, I think that when we look at the candidates and the players who are most likely to win, it's not a guarantee he'll be an underdog, but I think probably 4 of the players are definitely a favorite. And so it's like I would say 2 out of 6 in my view have a chance to win who would be an underdog against him. So it's much more likely than not that the winner of the candidates will be the favorite against Gukesh in the World Championship match.
The rule is that World Championship matches tend to be fairly tight, but I agree with Hikaru that I would say 2 players would be significant favorites, and there will be 3-4 more who would have a very decent chance, and probably only 2 where he'd be a a somewhat significant favorite. So overall, the field against Gukes for sure.
In time. All right, perfect 30-second answer. Okay, Magnus, if you played 18 holes with Tiger Woods and we let you tee off from the forward tee boxes, you would beat Tiger in at least one of the holes.
Yeah, Tiger is injured, so he wouldn't be able to play. I'd beat him on every hole.
Yeah, so I assume you mean the forward-most tee. If Tiger is not injured, then Magnus will never win a single hole. But it would be fun to see that happen. I don't know what Magnus's handicap is, but I'd be curious to see what the outcome is.
Welcome back, everyone, to the evening skyline of London. We are here for the final day of the 2025-2026 Speed Chess Championship Finals. Alireza Firouzja and Magnus Carlsen are putting on a show for us, as well as this drone shot is. I mean, really, just beautiful stuff. Today was the second day of sunshine in London in 4 months, or something like that. I'm preaching to the choir here, David. Has this been fiery on the board so far?
I've been so impressed. I'm so pleased as well, Levy, that we're having such a close match, and Alireza's trading punch for punch. Yes, he had one bad opening, that Bogo Indian. After that, I really feared the worst. But to come back in that game to win with black in that fashion, we have a real scrap on our hands. I think he's going to be feeling full of fire and confidence, Alireza.
Back in his seat there. 5 games so far have been played. A little bit of a reminder for anybody that's just tuned in. At some point I heard it was close to 100,000. The players play an hour and a half of this format, which is 5 minutes and 1 second bonus time. Then they play an hour of the next one, which is 3+1, and then they play 30 minutes of 1+1. We are about halfway through this format, if not a little bit more, and it has been very tense so far. Both players trading wins with white and black, with one draw. Magnus signing there, walking back to his board. And we are ready. The casters are ready. The players are ready. London, make some noise if you are ready. They're ready, I promise. Maybe they can't even hear us anymore. I have no idea.
We'll make sure they're ready. We'll check in on our lovely audience very shortly. But the players just getting back into the zone. That music, that white noise, whatever it is, going back on as the players lock in. It's going to be Alireza to serve first with white as we enter the second half of the 5+1 now.
I actually do think they might even turn off our microphones so the players can't hear, because sometimes we talk about the players and we don't want to say anything, and then they're like, what did he say about me? So Magnus is back, Firouzja's back as well.
You mean they don't want your Bogo Indian tips?
Well, he could have asked for them before the tournament, of course. I will be curious if he repeats it. He went back to a Queen's Gambit decline, then he outplayed Magnus in a full board Catalan game, which I said was going to be difficult. So you love it, David. It's exactly as you said, different structures, different openings, and Alireza maybe will go for e4 this game.
Will he at least check what Magnus has planned against e4? Will it be an e4, e5, and slow Spanish? No, it's back to the Queen's Gambit declined by transposition if Magnus had played d5, but no, it's a Queen's Indian this time with the black bishop coming out, maybe fianchettoing, maybe come to a6. This is old stuff, very historic opening, and d5, a pawn sacrifice, and this one is based on the white bishop opening up on the diagonal, an undefended black bishop. Lots of theory here, Levy.
Lots of theory, but a very forcing line. And that will give Magnus a level of comfort. He's probably studied this, knows the type of position to get to. Second time in a row, we see him grabbing a pawn and running away from Alireza, right? Kind of like stealing a cookie. And then Alireza's got to prove that the pawn disadvantage is worth the positional play. What's interesting, and this is the difference between humans and computers, we live in a time now, everybody talking about AI and all this and the existential threats that it poses, and those are very legitimate. But in chess, AlphaZero literally refuted this opening as black. Like, this opening loses as black, essentially, at the engine level, but not at the human level, right, David?
Yeah, often white sacrifices 2, 3 pawns, maybe even a piece, plays for long-term compensation. But the likes of AlphaZero were looking 20, 30 moves into the future, or at least you need some deep concept to justify it. So Magnus is pretty much banking on the fact that Alireza will not be able to maintain the pressure in that type of position. But look at Magnus. He's trying to recall the theory. This is still well-known stuff. I believe one of the main moves is knight out to a6 to support the other knight, which in turn supports the central pawn. It's key not to break the central tension here. There's too much pressure along the d-file against this poorly placed knight. White is also threatening in some variations to play e5, bring the queen out quickly and go for a blitz attack against the black king.
That's how I used to play this with white. Like, if I didn't get a mate in 3 or 4 moves as a kid, I was maybe like a teenager, I wouldn't really know what to do, because being a pawn down in some of these positions is a bit stressful. But we do have bishop f4. Knight a6 is really not a move that you play. unless you kind of understand the nuances and how the whole position ties together. But this feels very much, again, like Firouzja's style of game.
Exactly. He's sacrificed a couple of pawns in a couple of different openings, and Magnus does not look happy. Making a bit of a face there. What's he worried about? Is it this knight coming into d6 to hit the bishop? Is it pawn to e5, as we were talking about? Lots of choice for white.
But what did he expect? He played the Queen's Indian, right? And this is one of the most, it's probably the most emphatic way to meet this opening. In fact, it's been not played as much anymore with white because players with black can just memorize the lines. But you can't play into this without memorizing all the lines. He's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Exactly. And Magnus, we talk about his opening preparation, how he prepares on the golf course or just calling up his second. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to be sitting there for hours and hours memorizing stuff. He's now trying to work things out over the board, and it's cost him 1.5 minutes more than it has Alireza. This is a fantastic start to the game for white.
The bishop is hanging, by the way, in b7. So black has really no choice. You either have to defend it with the rook or with the queen. There are maybe some other tactics, like could you throw in bishop takes knight on c3 to destabilize the center? You wouldn't really want to do such a committal thing because then you would lose the piece near your king. But Magnus is thinking for a reason. He really just doesn't want to play a move like that.
Yeah, it feels ugly, right? He's now stared down at indirectly by the white bishop. The d5 pawn is going to be taken back at some point. Alireza is going to try and figure out the best conditions in which to do that. Maybe at some point he will take the bishop, trade everything off, recapture the pawn on d5, get the bishop pair. The black knight on a6 might be left a bit redundant on the edge of the board. But Levy, I think it's just the pure clock time, the nature of the position, reasons for optimism for Alireza here as he does trade off. And maybe he's just going to keep the tension, bring something into the center.
Yeah, because if he chops everything down, takes the bishop, takes the pawn on d5, everything gets traded. The rook actually will be standing one rank up and can swing to the right, exactly, after everything. And that's not really what Firouzja wants to go for. Plus, if everything clears out, the dark-squared bishop of Magnus will be pointing down diagonally to the pawn on b2. Firouzja knows this. In fact, he's probably calculated literally everything already in about 2 seconds. Just does he want to go for that now? Or can he make a move like rook to c1, bring the rook? Does he want to bring the queen out to a4 and replace the queen with the rook as well? Like, the position kind of flows like water. There is no rush here at all.
Exactly. I really like this move, rook to c1, just improving a piece. I quite like rook to e1 at some point. I'm not sure which direction the queen goes, maybe this way often in this opening.
Or h5. I mean, well, h5 could run into g6, but yeah, just plant the queen, rook t1, exactly.
Time to attack. Alireza, how and when is the question? What's he thinking about? Long think now.
Also, knight b5. Like, you kind of don't want to leave the opponent's position. C or b5, yeah, like, it's hard. The pawn on a7's hanging. It's not so simple to make a move.
Yeah, utilizing a pin as well. Slightly awkward for black there.
But it definitely feels like you need another piece. Got everybody out. Principal chess. We teach beginners. Up the queen, connect the rooks. Slide the rooks left to right. Target c7. He takes on d5 immediately.
Oh, he was in calculation mode. He decides to simplify things here. The question is whether black has time to go and grab on b2. Feels very risky. That will cost 2 full tempi. The bishop will have to go back very shortly. White has fantastic central control, Levy. I don't think it's Magnus's style to go pawn grabbing. We saw his screen there. He wasn't hovering over the bishop.
Nope. And if bishop b2, by the way, you don't even attack it with the rook. A lot of people would think you counter. You probably play rook d1 because it's not just about the defense of the knight. It's also when the queen moves, let's say to b5, which is a straight-up fork, the knight can also move and then attack the queen. So Magnus, there is no chance he plays bishop takes b2.
Yeah, that would be an objective mistake, almost a blunder. But what else? Is it just getting this knight off the edge of the board? That would be what I want to play. But he's got to be sweating about the fate of his rook as well on this diagonal. Once Magnus defends his queen, gets his queen out of the way, there will be some knight jumps that might hurt.
It's interesting that everybody thinks with their hand on the mouse. Like, you don't have to. But that's our locked-in mode. You know, you don't, because this is how we think, you know, with our hands over our head. But he's ready. He plays knight c7, hits the queen. Now he can take on b2.
He really can. Depends where the queen goes. I think his idea is to play knight to e6 as well to hit the white bishop. Oh, the queen went back. g5 was possible there, by the way.
Knight f7!
Oh, Magnus has blundered. Knight to f7. That's going to be given a 2 question marks. Oh, sorry, 2 exclamation marks, surely. Bishop takes b8 threatened. Queen takes e6. Everything's hanging.
The point is that now you have to take with the king. You could take on f4 with the bishop. That would be a puzzle on chess.com, and then you would have to find the checkmate rather than taking the queen, although both are fine, obviously. And then you can't take with the rook because you would lose basically everything. So king takes f7. I think Magnus just thought he has sufficient defenses. What has Alireza seen, though?
Yeah, king takes would have walked into some nasty stuff there, maybe with rook to d1, and at some point the rook would come up to d7. Rook takes is played instead, arguing that white doesn't have time to go and take this rook on b8 because the black knight would have jumped to c5. Maybe we quickly show that, that tactic. Levy, so much chaos. Now we're going into an endgame where Alireza will be a pawn up, but it's going to be difficult to convert. If we quickly show this position, king takes would have lost on the spot apparently due to rook to d1, and the black queen would be overworked if she slides. There would be some tactics, and after a check, the knight would drop off. Instead, as you mentioned, knight takes f4, beautiful smothered mate. I have to show it just for everyone at home. Another tactic hidden in the air. So rook takes f7, and bishop takes would have been a mistake due to the knight coming into the center, and the bishop would have fallen next move. If we catch up with the live position, white has an extra pawn after that tactic.
It's instructive. Alireza didn't rush with a queen trade, because if he trades the queens, then he has to win an endgame, and the only difference in the position is his pawn on f2. He has a pawn majority, but that's less ammunition than winning this, the white queen versus the black king. The black queen is like a piñata. Is that a thing here? I don't know what they call them. Those animals you hit at birthday parties and candy comes out. You know, well, give me a British candy. You know, but the queen here for white. Yes, there you go. Oh, I actually did a thing where I had to taste a bunch of British candies with Jolly.
Oh, nice.
Shout out Jolly. Shout out to those guys. Hope you guys watch their channel. But anyway, the queen on b3 here is a powerhouse. It's just like sniping the rook on f7 and the king on g8. Black is a move away from getting mated if he puts the queen on the wrong diagonal.
Exactly. A check would be deadly. Also, I think, Levy, good advice in general against Magnus is to not trade the queens.
Oh, yeah?
I think...
My guy. Oh, it's going to be... The next time we play Magnus, he ain't getting no damn queen trades. You heard it here first.
And no endgames yet, at least for Magnus Carlsen to try and save. Rook c7 at some point is surely going to be painful. Maybe even now, unless black has some nasty checks. Can white escape those? Because rook c7 would win if black doesn't have some kind of a petrol there.
Yeah, rook c7 looks... And for the record, why? Yeah. Why don't you trade the queens against Magnus?
Oh, I think he just knows the type of endgames he can hold. I mean, having written this book with him and recorded this course on endgames, he can tell you exactly what positions where it's 3 versus 2 on the king side, which piece configurations are winning, which are losing, where to put your pawns. He has worked it out all before. It is partly inspiration, but it's also a lot of study that's gone into it. And he has put the rook on c7. Black is totally immobilized here.
Queen c4?
Ooh, maybe some checks.
Yes, queen c4 would run into some serious problems. I guess you can run out to h3.
Yeah, I quite like that, actually.
that's okay.
Oh,
that was a miracle. I totally blundered it, but it turns out that running to h3 might just win the game.
Yeah, this is professional, though. No checks.
Yeah, no checks.
No moves. Wow.
There's nothing here.
Magnus has no time either. He looks like he's ready to click the resign button. Queen c4 is a winning move, maybe even now, to get that rook c8.
He sets it up, rook c8 with the skewer. He's doing the Hikaru faces. I mean, really, he's doing like he is very unhappy with himself.
Yeah, it's something that happens when you get to your 30s. You start making those faces.
Oh boy, I just turned 30, so.
Oh, it's all, yeah, it's all downhill from there. But no, bishop to e3 played instead. He wants to transpose into a queen king of pawn endgame, and there we go. Magnus resign, sorry. Wow, Alireza taking it.
The slip, we're so used to it, but it's Alireza Firouzja winning 2 excellent games back to back. Not fluky, not scrambly, just purely outplaying Magnus Carlsen. Back-to-back games, 3.5, 2.5, and for the first time in London, Magnus Carlsen trails.
Incredible. Great play. Alireza would have just traded off the bishops, the queens, the rooks, and won the king and pawn endgame with that extra pawn had it continued. But Magnus not even fighting it on, shaking his head. It's showing that he is really feeling the heat here.
Fun fact, maybe not so fun for the Magnus fans. Last time they played in a final, it was 6-3 Magnus after the 5+1. Alireza Firouzja already has more points, and we have 28 more minutes to go.
Incredible. He really has brought his A game. We're back to this fianchetto tense position with all the pieces left on. Magnus has put both of his bishops on the longest possible diagonals. He's now going to plant his knight in the center if black retakes with the pawn. It's a very typical idea. And yeah, we can see how Alireza continues to fare in these positions. He's held his own so far. He doesn't normally play into them. This is normally Magnus's type of hunting ground. Very, very tense, very strategic. And c5, we're going to see the hanging pawn structure again, most likely a bit later down the line. For now, Magnus maneuvers. The knight goes home. back is coming out to c3 to apply pressure on the fixed d5 pawn. And therefore, Alireza tries to meet it by planting his knight in the center. Very, very balanced position so far.
For the second time, we see the same structure for black, but the white queen never went out. It's not on a4, not on b5, not applying pressure. I do have to say, again, I am more comfortable applying pressure to those pawns and making some trades in the position from the white side. But wow, rook c3 makes sense because bishop c3, there were some tactics. But it doesn't feel like a great position for white. The coordination's just not there.
He's playing for a certain style of position, Magnus, but he's not getting the dream versions. It always feels like he's a few tempi down, therefore having to retreat his rook and allowing now Alireza to push forward. That's a classy move. If the pawn is captured, I think he wants to create a protected pass pawn in the near future, whether it's now or on the next few moves.
David, correct me if I'm wrong. If you showed me the last 2 games and now this one, it's like the colors are flipped. Like it really feels like Alireza has stolen the style of his opponent. He's giving up an outside pawn, which Magnus has recently had to come to terms with being more comfortable in playing, especially after learning the Catalan. This is Magnus' school of chess right here.
Exactly. Give up an A pawn, create a pass pawn, win it long term. I agree. You asked the question, like, these young players, what type of games do they study the most? Everyone now looks at Magnus Carlsen as the benchmark. They look at his games by far the most, and maybe the style is rubbing off, finally. Knight to e5 played.
Before we get crazy, knight e5 is an annoying move. White could be threatening in some positions to take on e4 and then try to take the pawn on c4. Well, there it is. Now Firouzja's going to have to maybe take on e5. Or can you just give up the c4 pawn?
Big question. You do get the white light squared bishop. That tends to be a good thing, but black doesn't really get any attack immediately, so it would be a material investment long term. I think Alireza wants to take the bishop. He would rather have that piece, but taking the knight, maybe this specific scenario, is the way to go. And okay, Magnus with his identical twin there in the audience, doppelgangers.
I met one guy in the venue upstairs. I think it was, I can't remember at this point, but and I was like, oh, you got this, you got that? Yeah, he's like, came from Australia. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I saw the mustache and I thought Australia. Now he has given up a second pawn for this doubled outside pawn, central lock, light squared attack near the king, but he's getting a little, I don't want to say arrogant, but he's getting a little hyped. The better move was just to play it safe and take the knight.
Yeah, I think he underestimated the fact that white's piece is actually quite stable for now. The white queen might sit on b5 in the near future. The black b6 pawn is going to be weak long term. There we go, applying some pressure. And it's hard for black to improve. Yes, black has a beautiful bishop in the center on d5, but what else? What next? White has 2 extra pawns. I think this is good news for Magnus, Alireza, as you say, just taking a bit too far here, the risk he's going with.
And Magnus is a move away from getting rid of his outside weakness. Should he be able to push it to a5 or reposition the dark squared bishop in a perfect world to b4 exactly, rook b1, rook c1. It definitely feels like a position where you have a 1-game lead and you're like, I'm gonna sack the pawn and we'll figure it out. But we are not figuring it out, folks. That's just a couple moves away from Magnus really capitalizing on the pawn advantage.
Yeah, could we see the trend of this match turn again? Magnus will want to equalize as soon as possible, of course. Time is ticking in this 5+1 portion where Magnus is a big favorite. This is where our pre-match prediction said that he would strike. He would emerge with a couple of points lead. That has not happened, not come to fruition so far. According to Polymarket, a 72% chance of Magnus winning this match. But I'm not sure that's the case any longer. Alireza holding his own. Rook c6, a nice move, putting pressure on the knight.
You can triple up as well, the queen and the rook. There's some rook a5 business in the air. Magnus trying to trade pieces. We tell people, rook a5 is right there. Pushing out the queen. We tell people, you have an advantage, especially material. Trading is good. You want to trade some rooks, some bishops, some knights. But now the queen's got to leave.
Yeah, she's almost trapped. She has to flee back to e2, f1, ugly squares. The a4 pawn will drop in the near future.
Rook c6.
Oh, Magnus wants to. He loves it. Those types of queen sacrifices, counterintuitive. He won one really nice game against Denis Lazovic when he had pieces against the queen yesterday. Oh,
there it
great
is!
call.
He's
Great
sacrificing his queen. Now, there will be an audience response here, and they're probably going to get a little bit hyped, but we don't know. We don't know. It's a big decision to lose a queen in a chess game. It's a huge decision. because that's the most powerful piece. If your pieces don't coordinate well enough, you're going to have problems. Now, there's some hacks to playing against the queen. You need really good coordination. You need no weaknesses, right? You have to have the ability to move the pawns forward as well. Does he have all the criteria?
He does, especially if this rook is taken. That's why there's hesitation now on the part of Alireza Firouzja. That would have been a deadly c-pawn. Again, don't take the rook. It's going to be replaced by a future queen and double exclamation mark.
That's a little nonsensical because it could have been taken on the previous move. But yes, and Alireza, this is genius. I think Magnus might have just like skipped this step. Like he doesn't have to take my rook. Obviously, you want to take the rook, but the passed pawn would quickly become a 2.5 point pawn, pushing up the board. Firouzja could land a checkmate in the future if that pawn gets to h3.
Exactly. And you talked about what to do against the queen. With the queen, technically your material down here quite a lot. A queen versus 2 rooks and 2 pawns. But you need to go for the enemy king as quickly as possible. b5 pawn is hit. Ooh, watch out though. A pin on the back rank.
Ooh, yes. He definitely missed this idea, bishop a3. He's in a lot of trouble now. King f7 is impossible. He had to maybe move the queen to e7.
Oh no, that is terrible news. And queen to e7 now would be too late. The white rook would come up to c3. The bishop's going to line up on the diagonal anyway. He's lost a key move. And how to break this deadly pin. No checkmate against the white king yet because the white knight is just about nearby. And it covers f3, so the black queen can never use the light squares.
You might have to chuck the bishop and just go kind of crazy. I'm not really sure what else you can do here.
He blocks the diagonal. But if bishop a3 ever lands, knight c4 is the solution.
Oh, a counter here.
Oh, the rook is hit. Double question mark. That is harsh. Knight takes b6 is apparently the best move now. Giving up the knight just to connect the white rooks, and bishop to a3 is up his sleeve for a bit later.
That is definitely findable because the alternatives are pretty dreadful. Going back is not nice, although feasible, understandable, but it's not quite the same position because the queen was never on e6 to begin with.
Exactly. That would be admission of a mistake from Magnus, not something he wants. Knight takes b6. Oh, the game goes on there, though. The black queen will still have potential of attacking the white king.
I just said this. Knight d2. It's not the same. Now Alireza gets a move, and he could, and Magnus, and Alireza just repeats. He repeated the position.
Oh, he trusted Magnus. Bishop to b7 would have been super strong. And okay, now game on. Bishop to a3. We're going to see black flog his bishop, give it up on f8, and just try to break through behind. Queen takes pawn now. He's coming in. Watch out. If I can draw arrows, queen to d1 check. That looks deadly almost.
Oh, and rook f8, there's always queen a1 in some lines where it would be hitting the rook as well. If Alireza gets h3, this white king is not feeling safe at all.
Oh, who would you pick here? Practical terms, it's maybe easier to play black, but he is lower on the clock.
Yeah, it's anybody's game. The 26 seconds are not going to be conducive. Magnus will find ways to put some pressure, but when his king is attacked, bad things could happen.
That's the one Achilles heel, maybe. Magnus takes some risk with his king in regular occurrences in games. Will it pay off this time? This is fantastic, though, from Alireza to spot that he can just give up a piece. He's so much material down, but the queen is all-powerful.
At the very minimum, he's close to forcing a draw, right? If he gets his king out and then plays g5 and g4, like there could be a net where he just keeps checking the white king. And black's king is super safe because it's just going to run around on the light squares.
Oof, this is really dangerous times for Magnus. He likes positional queen sacrifices. When it gets dynamic like this, a bit crazy, anyone would feel uncomfortable.
Alireza has played out of his mind. This has been some of the best chess that he has shown all of us, really, just exceptional. And Magnus is down to below 40 seconds. They are 10 seconds apart. He does not have a plan here.
If this gets down to a 10-second each scramble, then it's easier to play with the queen, no doubt, especially with the king open like this, the checks.
What's the move? What's the move? That was the obvious move. He goes h3. What a little move.
Oh, he wants to put his knight back on f1 without allowing the black pawn to h3. The black queen would have come in, pawn down, checkmate. That is not possible any longer. That's a great move from Magnus.
This is information to Alireza to react to. h3 must be a bit of a shock. He has 10 seconds on the clock. Does he take? Does he give a check? What does he do here?
Apparently only 2 moves hold the balance. He needs to take, but now he needs to find this move, bishop to e6.
There is absolutely no... Oh, wow! What a move! And so now what? Now what's the idea, David? Bishop...
Oh, the key behind bishop e6 is that he could have there played queen a5 with a nasty skewer, and the white rook could not come back and connect. Missed opportunity. That's why the red cross appeared. Queen a5 would have been super strong for black there.
But it's actually one of the most forcing moves, and now we might get that perpetual. The king is hunted.
Knight takes f6. Magnus could have checkmated black there with some nasty rook checks.
Oh, but now the king is getting hunted. Where are the checks? How do you check here? He's pinning.
He's pinning the black bishop.
Oh, he lost on time!
Wow. Alireza Firouzja flags in what was a crazy position, still with better chances for black. That is a gift.
Am I crazy, or is Alireza bright red? Like, he is feeling the moment. Both guys showing expressions on their faces. D6, by the way, we have that structure. I'm hyped. Now the F knight could go to D7, and black will advance in the middle with E5. There's some very interesting nuances here, and these games can get very locked. I really like these positions for black, although white does have a nice space advantage. Yeah, this is tense.
Wow, it's so level right now. It's so balanced. Both sides have lost on time now. Both sides have been panicking. Magnus shaking his head. Both sides have now played the Bogo Indian as black. And we see the connect four, the pawn center, challenged, though, with E5. Exactly what you were describing there, Levy. And the question is whether white wants to keep the tension or block it up. Two very different modes of action here.
It looks really restricted, by the way. Magnus just... I think, and I'm sure you've talked with Magnus about games before, I'm sure he could go 6 hours, 12 hours, maybe 2 weeks thinking about a game and moments in a game. He's thinking about the game. Exactly. And the reason he won on time, just for everybody confused, is Alireza's clock hit 0, but also because he didn't have a check. There was no obvious move, and when the knight protects the king, the knight is the best defender against the queen. And Alireza just couldn't figure out a plan, but Magnus knows he might have gotten away with something.
Yeah, his king was living life on the edge, and he survived Magnus. That's the type of scramble where I would have thought Alireza's the favorite. That time it just happened to go the other way. That's how close these two are in all time formats. That felt like a bullet match, that finish, but really high quality up to that point with the positional queen sack, the way that Alireza was maneuvering with his queen. For now, though, it is white with a space advantage, but pieces coming off the board, alleviating that cramping that black otherwise might be suffering with. And I'm expecting him next to bring his knight into the center, maybe after c6, and solid enough for black. But I think most players would choose white and the nice pawn center here.
This is why I like the setup with black, because white does get a lot of space, but it's not so simple to then figure things out. And you can just sort of arbitrarily push your pawns. This is a very Firouzja-esque type of game as black. They're both mirroring each other. Yeah. Firouzja plays like this, moves like h5, encroaching on the space. You know, if white plays h3, it's a huge positional error potentially with the dark squares being weak in the long run, but I'm loving this. This is a d4 masterclass. Really, it's just a masterclass of a match.
We haven't had an e4 yet, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, this is crazy. Queen's Gambits, Queen's Indians, Bogo Indians, you name it, we've had it. I expect the King's Indian at some point if Magnus is behind. But there we go. The h-pawn is pushing, and you're right. It's like they're adopting each other's styles. They've clearly both come really well prepared to this match.
I love it. I hope it's tense all the way down to the conclusion. Like I said, last time it was 6-3 after the 5+1, and then, wait till I read you this stat. In the 3+1, it was 8-2. Now, obviously, you could be a bit tilted from the 5+1, and then it sort of gets out of control. We need this level sustained, as Magnus has given up the bishop pair to the young opponent, and yet still has an advantage by striking back in the center with d5.
Yeah, he needed to be quick, Magnus. It is counterintuitive sometimes, but when you play against the bishop pair, you need to accelerate the play, even at the cost of opening it up. Here, the black bishop was asleep, so some pressure now on the b4 pawn. And structurally, black is doing very, very well long-term with a queenside pawn majority, so d5 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't think he's quite quick enough here, Alireza. Maybe he'll have to close it down. There we go, with c5, at least create a nice home for his knight. But queen to e7, maybe some tactics against the loose bishop.
And apparently the wrong move, like maybe black had to go for h3, maybe black needed a more emphatic solution. There might have been knight h5, knight g3 ideas with the queen coming to h4, you know, just clearing things out over there. But in the long run, David, if the queens come off and the rooks come off, white is almost positionally just winning on the spot. You just go knight a5, and black is never protecting that pawn.
Exactly. Got to be dynamic, got to be quick. And, oh, h3, there's going to be rook e1 and tactics in the air. Shout out to our younger viewers in the arena, lots of them here in London today. A lot of people cheering for Alireza.
I love it. In the UK, folks like chess, maybe even more than football at a young age. Those two things go hand in hand. That's all I did, right? I played soccer, football as a kid. I very quickly realized I was not particularly good. I stuck to the chess. You probably played some sports as well growing up, and then Then it goes all chess.
Exactly. We stick to what we're good at, right? And,
Oh, yeah.
I loved the football, but I was never going to make it as a pro. Here we go, bishop f1. Lots of calculation needed. I think knight c4 is maybe also on the radar. Very forcing move, either coming in or forcing white to make some exchanges. But h3 has got to be the move you want to play, just to loosen up the white king and make it difficult for Alireza long term.
Yeah, but as you said, rook e1 is so nasty because then you can never move.
Difficult decision for Magnus Carlsen. Still got extra time. And the chat poll now saying that 58% Magnus. That is closing. That is not a huge amount of people believing in Magnus here, maybe just due to how strongly Alireza is performing so far today. But consistency is going to be the key.
It would be a revelation. We have needed some storylines in chess for quite some time. We got one about 2 hours ago with Denis Lazovic. If this were to happen, it would be incredible, and so far, he's in prime position. Remember, he very well could be the best bullet player in the world, and we only have about 71 minutes until that portion. So it's on the board, David. h3, rook e1.
Yeah, Magnus is making faces. He's gesturing to himself. Doesn't look so comfortable. This is a really, really nasty pin. Magnus can maybe leave the pawn on h3. Could also flick in a check, flick in a capture. At some point, though, I think he just needs to get his queen out of dodge here before white is able to up the pressure on the knight or just take the knight.
Yeah, what do you play here? It's so uncomfortable. And if those pawns for white also get moving, like if I just play g3, not right now because there would be knight takes pawn, the pawn on h3 is just gone. It's totally gone. He's relying on it wrecking the position. If you imagine black could take on g2 now, the doubled f pawns for white would be a problem. So can Alireza play queen f4? That move looks like it just wins the game. Just looks like a pin and you can't get out of it. So what are the consequences?
That has to be the one he's thinking about. I'm looking at some queen sacrifices there, like move the knight, try and get in on the back rank. What would happen? Queen f4 is the critical move. It either works very strongly or it backfires.
Right, knight d3,
Knight d3.
queen takes queen, rook takes rook, king, or maybe pawn takes pawn there. It's just, we don't have to play the game, so we don't care. They could figure it out on their own. But queen f4 just it looks like a crushing move. The only move that black has to play any defense is knight fd7. That is not what you want to do.
No, he will not be playing that unless he feels there's nothing else, Magnus Carlsen. But Alireza needs to move. He doesn't have to go for queen f4. He can, I don't know, plant something in the center. He can just wait. He can trade off if he maybe wants to take it to opposite color bishops, although there black might just have the superior structure. He's under 1 minute though. Nervous times. He's got to move.
What is actually, like, what are we doing after queen f4? Like, is there pawn takes g2 or something and some knight d3?
Just while Alireza thinks, let's jump in, let's get an analysis board up and check out what happens after queen to f4. Knight d4 is played instead. Advantage black now though.
He didn't play it.
Oh, and the blue arrow shows knight c4. Let's show what happened after queen to f4, the critical move. We would have seen potentially some crazy tactics in the air. I'll just quickly put it on the board as the players think. Knight e to g4 levy. Of course, apparently would win on the spot.
Why?
Which is crazy after queen takes rook, hitting this bishop, and I'm struggling to understand this. Knight to d2. Apparently just knight to e3 and just breaking through on the back rank.
Oh, gh3, knight e3, and you're mated or something? Wait, because you can still play knight e2. What was gh3?
In this position, take, check, and something with some knights. I mean, the king would have to go to h4.
What?
Check it out. Knight takes, king takes, rook g1.
Wow, g6 mate. You really calculated all of that?
I think he was. I think he was calculating Alireza, but he chickened out, and rightly so. And if we catch up with the live position, Magnus now has a strategic advantage. Look at that white pawn structure. Ugly, and the knight coming in.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. We really had to break that down. 11 seconds on the clock. Just this is not a winning strategy. You just cannot get this low on time.
Magnus is spoiled for choice here. He can give a check. I mean, maybe with his queen, with his knight. At some point, the other knight's going to come in via f4, replace the queen. Long-term, short-term, it's all Magnus right now. And the clock.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. This is dreadful. 2 knights to defend against. Oh, just looks like you're mated soon, but he's just surviving.
He's just surviving. The queen coming back, threatening checkmate is a very tempting option right now, but I think white would try and get the queens off as quickly as possible, cling on a bit longer, as you said earlier. Endgames, maybe white has some chances. We'll go after the black queenside pawns.
Alireza would love a queen trade. He'd pay money for it. Like, he is absolutely trying to trade the queens any chance he gets, but he can't. Bishop d2, he gives away a knight, but he was going to take back. Knight c2, queen f3.
Yeah, this is really tense right now. He does get the queens off, but at the cost of trading off his dark-squared bishop there. No more bishop pair.
Oh, he had to go knight b3, though.
Yeah, why not knight b3? That's bizarre. The knight was dying to go after the black b7 pawn, but
Whoa, can you play like bishop a6 or something? Something completely crazy there? Or
that would've been
b5?
fun. But look at the white king now.
It's just over here.
The white king is trapped, and the white knight finally realizing its mistake. It now wants to go for the b7 pawn, but too late. The bishop can just go to e1 and force the white knight back. Maybe the d pawn at some point. That's a passer.
This is a totally winning endgame for black despite the material equality. Alireza is making every move with half a second on the clock. Maybe he's going to trick. Oh my goodness, he might have gotten some life here.
Whoa, he's back in it. He's holding everything for now, but Magnus still long-term is in charge. He wins a pawn, but at least the white king gets off the edge of the board.
But if Firouzja saves this, it is hard not to lock him in as a bullet favorite. Really, this Magnus Carlsen has to win this position.
Yeah, Magnus on form wins this 10 times out of 10, especially with the time advantage. But, okay, strange things happen in finals, especially close ones.
Alireza is finding the only moves.
Magnus is going back, though. He wants the c5 pawn. He wants to keep the white pieces honest.
Now, at some point, he can take it now, right? He was threatening some sort of way to, like, bishop, he's just not fast enough. Now he's threatening to take it.
Yep, and he wants to go behind. Alireza flogs another pawn. That's not going to pay off.
No, that's not good enough, and he is going to be 2 pawns down.
Soon to be 3. There we go. c5 pawn now hangs. 3 pawns is too much.
Yeah, you're going to get one of them back, but this could be a draw without the f-pawns. There are positions, believe it or not, where you can have c and d and it's a draw, but this is not one of those positions. Magnus Carlsen is looking at a 1-game lead with about 5 minutes of game time remaining.
Exactly. With 2 extra pawns, you either want them far separated, many files between them, or connected, like here, and Magnus gets the win, takes the lead.
A very nice positional grind from the world #1. And we will end the segment with yet another Queen's Gambit Nimzo Indian. First Nimzo of the... Oh, it's no longer really a Nimzo if the move d5 appears. But this is a real masterclass in Queen's Pawns games.
Yeah, we're learning a lot. Both players have clearly been studying similar openings before this match. Magnus plays a very safe line. The bishop to d2 variation is known for its solidity with white. You don't get doubled pawns, as we often see in the Nimzo Indian. So the pawn structure often remains fluid, often symmetrical. Magnus, I think, would be content at this point at keeping his lead, maintaining it into the next segment. But the queen comes out. He wants the bishop pair, at least, as a small imbalance. The key is whether black can play the move c5. Alireza tends to like that type of move as quickly as possible if he can get it. Clarify things, but no, a5 defends the bishop instead.
There are a lot of ways in these Rogozin Queen's Gambit declined positions to move bishops. You can move them to b4, you can move them to e7, you can move them to d6 in certain situations. This one is quite unique because you've traded off the bishop for the knight on c3. Now, for about half a move there, the pawns were doubled. Right? You had c3 and c4. But if white trades off all the pawns, all the benefits that you get for damaging the structure are just not particularly there anymore. Now you take on d5, and traditional wisdom tells you bishop pairs are really good. And they are, because now white is going to have the entire open queen side and very powerful bishops. Alireza, meanwhile, will have to work on the dynamics, targeting the center with his knights, maybe solidifying. But overall, this is very much a position that I would take Magnus, and the traditional kind of understanding that the bishops, both on light and dark squares, will put substantial pressure on black. Having said all of that, and rambling for about 40 seconds, they've both done a very good job of playing like the other. So Alireza is about to fight back in significant fashion.
And here we go. The queen is kicked to a3. Magnus often likes to delay castling, but he's 1 move away now. And long term, the bishop pair, the pawn center, very, very promising. Magnus looks like he's smiling there, Levy. Is that about the game? Is that... what's he thinking about?
I don't know. Maybe somebody has a funny sign. Really, I don't know. It's always a bad thing when your opponent is just smiling happily. You're having the most stressful match of your life. Happens a lot when you play children in tournaments. I'm playing a 9-year-old, and I'm really locked in, and he's licking chips off his fingers and laughing at me. That's really, that's quite a humbling experience.
Yeah, and Hikaru had a tough weekend. He was never smiling, that was the thing. Players tend to play best when they're relaxed, chilled. No matter how that is achieved, whether it's golf, whether it's mustaches, music. Rook c2, very solid move, guarding the a2 pawn. That pawn is key. He needs to keep it alive. Much more important than the c7 pawn that he could have grabbed.
For sure, we saw Alireza win a game earlier with an outside a pawn. This would have been the exact same situation. With a position like the one White has, after you make several more improving moves, like castling, pawn to h3, maybe removing the other rook to the queen side, suddenly it becomes very difficult for Black to make another improving move. And you'll see us talk about that a lot, and the players make these types of moves. c6 is an attempt at making an improving move, but you're going backwards. Every time you go backwards in chess, you give up space. I like to tell beginners and intermediate players, 8 times out of 10 roughly, going back is the wrong move. And going back here was the wrong move. Magnus keeps improving things.
Yeah, I guess the knight wasn't great or stable anyway, but maybe the knight was better on the square, the central square that the queen sits on. He's never going to be able to connect his pawns, push his pawns. They'll be easily blockaded on the dark squares. The white rooks as well, staring down a semi-open file. Black is very much stuck. And slowly but surely, Magnus will now be trying to improve his bishops, maybe his knight. If you can pick it up and put it anywhere else, maybe b4, f4, somewhere closer towards the center. But rook b2 from Magnus, he's trying to persuade these pawns, provoke them forward.
Now, if b5 happens here, then the c6 pawn is going to be super weak. And if c6 is weak, b5 is weak, and if b5 is weak, a4 is weak. Could be real bad here for Alireza in just a few moves.
Dominoes, they all collapse one by one. But what else to do? If you don't push b5, you have to put your rooks on some passive squares. Oh, this is very difficult for Alireza. I think he just needs to try and limit the damage now, just survive the next few moves.
Wasn't the prediction for this segment from chess.com 4.5, 3.5?
Oh, I think it was a 2-point lead.
You're right. It was, I think, 5.5, 3.5. That would be a legendary call if it comes true.
Yeah, and it didn't look like it would be that way for so long. But Magnus has upped his game just recently.
Yeah, this is the last game. The 9th and final game of this segment. It's a very, very strange structure. The queenside dominoes. The C file, which just feels so tender, but you can't put anything there. And anything you put, c6 will be protected, but White is maybe preparing bishop to f3. There's also maybe f3, e4 type of business here, which would be very unpleasant to me. That's apparently a bad move. Hey, why can't we just go bishop f3 here?
Yeah, bishop f3 looks very awkward for Black to face. No threats, but an awkward pin. f3, you mentioned that, Levy, maybe also a possibility. You could also take the knight and then f3 and prepare e4 quickly. You could even dodge with the knight. I think everything is good here,
Knight
unfortunately.
b1 or knight f1 looks very problematic as well because f3 is coming.
Yeah, I quite like knight f1 as well, just to defend the e3 pawn. He goes for it immediately, Magnus Carlsen. We're being told the pre-match prediction was 5-3 in his favor. So, yeah, 2-point lead. That would make him a favorite. I'm not sure, 78% favorite, as we were discussing earlier. But Magnus now, big threat on the board. e4 would be winning a piece on the spot.
He takes a sip of water. He knows things have gone terribly wrong here for Black. I did say at some point Black is going to be running out of moves. And he has. He does not have an improving move anymore. You try to improve with the rooks double up, e4 is a problem. Black has tangible, concrete problems in this position, which will involve a retreat here. Doesn't matter that it won't be a fork. Magnus is about to take over the game.
Yeah, this is so one-sided now, the position. You can switch your attentions back to c2. Now it's possible to double up. I mean, at some point, even a break in the center, the white queen can slide across. She's no longer forced to stay sidelined. There we go.
And you can't even defend the rook from straight on, the pawn from straight on with the rook, because White has bishop takes b5.
There is a trap. Queen takes pawn would blunder due to the rook sliding across with a skewer on the c-file. The rook behind would drop with a check. That trick will be spotted.
Also, Alireza could be preparing some e4 sacrifice.
Yeah, bishop takes e4.
Not anymore.
That's clever, getting out of the range of the black knight. But that's just an indefensible pawn long term.
Yeah. That's it. There's not much else to say. That pawn's going to fall.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, the bar rises. That means there might be some tactics in the air. I wouldn't be shocked if Magnus slow plays it here, just moves his queen, or like h3 or something. But I wonder, Levy, d5, something along the back rank.
That must just be winning. You sack the queen for the two rooks, and the black Position totally falls apart. D5 takes queen sack, knight e8 at the end, and bishop takes b5. There is queen b6 check. There is queen b6 check. It's not so simple. But maybe rook c6 first, something like that.
Oof, yeah, just close the door. Rooks and bishops combined there will overpower the queen. Magnus is thinking, he's calculating. It's no longer just about positional feel, where to put the pieces. This has been a classy game. It feels like Alireza, probably it's a good time for a break for him.
I pitched the idea for the next PChess Championship that we have a timeout button. In the middle of a segment, you're allowed, or maybe one time during the match, you can press timeout. Be cool if we had a coach's box too. Coach sitting there can give you advice at some points during, not during the games, please, but during segments or after games. But today they're on their own.
Yeah, they do have coaches somewhere in the shadows, lurking in the backgrounds, but not visible to us. I like the timeout idea. I mean, Hikaru, for example, would have loved a timeout just before the final game against Denis Lazovic, just to maybe calm his nerves. But we see the breakthrough. Of course, it's the Connect 4. And yeah, more importantly, he's breaking through on the back rank now, Magnus Carlsen. Pawn takes pawn. We would see a queen sacrifice, not the first time in this match. Queen takes c8 and devastation.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure there is literally any other choice. What else can you do here with black? If you lose c6, you lose b5 and a4. We've been over this. And not only do you lose all of those things, you don't have any counterplay at all. The pawn spike in the center for white blocks out the knight and the bishop. He will probably have to play pawn takes pawn. He's going to do it with like 15 seconds on the clock or 10 seconds and try to hope that Magnus panics in a scramble.
Here we go. The knight blocks. Bishop takes would be a mistake here. Or would it? A queen check, maybe there's still rook c5, but Magnus takes a pawn. That is a cool tactic. Queen takes bishop. It's a brilliancy here. Would be met by rook to e1 with a dastardly skewer. That's so sneaky, Levy.
Yeah, pawn takes d5 is what he worked on there. He realized bishop b5 doesn't work. Pawn takes d5. Nice move deflecting the queen. 6 seconds for Firouzja to make a decision. Bishop b5 is coming and it's over.
Bishop b5 is coming. Rook e1. That knight is not surviving long.
Sack the rook. Take. And that's it. 3 pieces for the queen. Promoting pawn. We are 2-3 moves away from a resignation and a Magnus 2-game lead going to the 3+1.
They coordinate so well, those white pieces. Pawn to a3 would cement the bishop. That d pawn's a queen. Yeah, this is over. There we go. Everything protected. The rook will go to the d file next, propelling the pawn forward. We're going to see a resignation. It's going to be the end of the 5+1 section.
That is it. That is it. Magnus Carlsen smiling as he comes back from a 1-game deficit. He trailed in the first time, for the first time in the finals, but oh my goodness, after that he roars back with 3 straight wins.
3 straight wins. Alireza, of course, lost 4 games on the bounce yesterday to Hikaru, but he also went on 4-game winning streaks. He's have to go to improve somehow and find some magic against Magnus next.
Yeah, he's happy to interact. There are 3 games like that. You can be happy. Firouzja can be happy with the play in the middle of the match, but it was quite clear that the second he took the lead, there was that game where he got a little bit carried away with the position. He took some liberties, and then he ended up losing that game on time. That was a very important game where he almost came back ultimately, but he couldn't quite pull it off. You have to get a lead, and you have to maintain it. And if you don't, the train is going to run away from the station.
Levy, someone smuggled your book into the venue. I saw it there.
Yeah, it's the contraband. He's got Magnus to sign it there. Hopefully he's got to write a book of his own.
Sorry, yes.
And there we go. He's heading off. He's co-written a book alongside yours truly.
Yes, yes, yes. But is it called How to Win at Chess?
Not
You know,
yet.
it's called Endgames. You know, we got 5.5, 3.5. That's the 5+1. Oh, we've got John with Magnus Carlsen.
Thank you very much, guys. Magnus, the way you've started the 5+1 here, obviously 3 wins on the trot is fantastic. But when we take a look at the start of this match compared to what happened at the start last year, it looked like it's a lot closer. The levels seem to be really high. What do you think of playing Alireza last year versus this year? What are the differences you've noticed?
Well, he was up early, won early last time as well, 2.5, 1.5. But first of all, it's a really, really fun match. I'm not able to control it. Like, it's generally very hard to control matches against him because he raises the complexity level. And honestly, I'm just having a lot of fun. It's a great match so far, and I hope to continue to enjoy it.
As the match goes on, do you think both of you are going to steadily improve as the time controls get faster?
No.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it. It's been fantastic fun. Thank you so much, Magnus. Best of luck. Thank you. Brilliant. All right, folks, we're going to be back with more chess in just a bit. But for now, I would love to get a breakdown of some of the ridiculous games that we've had in this match so far. There's so much to go through. David, over to you. Pick something for us to go over. I'm thinking Game 7, but goodness knows what you'll be able to uncover for us.
John, you ask and I shall deliver. Game 7 was potentially the turning point in this whole match, but definitely of the 5+1 segment. At this point, Alireza was up. He was leading, but Magnus delivering with a queen sacrifice, and it was here that things started to get crazy, with both sides down to their last few seconds. Here, Alireza found the best move. Bishop back to e6, hitting a loose pawn. That was blocked, but he needed to find the move queen to a5, sliding back with a bit of a skewer on the rook, the knight. And rook to c8 now impossible due to this cunning bishop move last turn. Instead, the bishop dropped back. Now a bit of a mistake here by Magnus, allowing the queen in behind enemy lines. The black pieces here, delivering all the checks. A queen check was even stronger. Bishop takes instead. Magnus missing a killer blow. Knight takes would have been a devastating checkmating attack. Check this one out with the bishop delivering the killer blow here. Instead, Magnus went on the defensive. Another move maybe that Alireza had missed. And in this crazy position, bishop to f1 being strong, there was just no time to figure it out. Black actually had a small advantage with this last check, but with the knight defending the king so well, Alireza, 1 second left, was too slow. The clock ran out, Magnus struck back, went on to win the next two, and is now the favorite again in the match.
And that goes to show you, David. Both players can play below 80% accuracy. Everybody at home no longer has to ever feel bad if they use chess.com game review and it says 78, because even the best players in the world can hit that number.
Exactly, and I think it might be in those kind of those tactical minefields that Alireza's best chances will be in the bullet scramble. Just force Magnus to just gamble and kind of play random moves, but unfortunately that time chips fell the other side. Alireza just too slow.
You know who also has some thoughts? We've got Danny, we've got Anna, and we've got Aman. Guys, how you doing? Your nervous system all right?
I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing okay. Everyone in here, your nervous system all right? Are we okay? We're doing all right. All right, we're doing okay. Yeah,
Take it away, guys.
Levy, I wanted to ask you, you had the call in Paris. Magnus Carlsen was up 6-3 at the end of the first segment. Here it's 5.5, 3.5, but it feels much closer than it did in Paris. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. Having said that, it's only a half a point difference at this point. When it was 3.5, 2.5, I was feeling really, really good. You have to keep in mind when you add it up, it was 14-5 after 2 segments. The 3+1 will make and break it. Like Denis Lazovic, he made it in the 3+1 segment. Will Alireza Firouzja get a win? Because if he doesn't, you can tilt so fast. 3-game lead, and it's just running away from Magnus. I'm tense. I can't believe how he's feeling.
Well, as David showed, the games are going to be tense. Not every day you can lose a game while in a better position. Obviously, the one you showed there in a time scramble, of course, that's what speed chess is all about. But all right, guys, we're going to break it down and talk a little bit more about who might be feeling better. Okay, to Levy's point, the 3-1 segment really is the deciding factor. It was the deciding factor in many ways between Denis Lazovic and Hikaru Nakamura. I feel like it's the time control that reveals form even more than the other two. And in Paris, Magnus won the 3-1, 8-2. So I don't think that's what Alireza wants. What do you think? I don't think that kind of form is here for Alireza in this match.
No, it's not acceptable. You know, that he's not looking to repeat that, obviously, but he's already shown that he's nowhere near that trajectory. I expect something different from Alireza this time. And also, I think the 5-minute portion is generally used from the players to feel out what openings are working, try things out, and when you get to 3+1, 1+1, you're starting to repeat them. You're saying, this works, let me stick with that. We saw Denis do that very, very well. I think Alireza has used the 5 minutes that direction, and, you know, then when 3 minutes comes around, he'll know what to do.
The question is Alireza having as much fun as Magnus is? That was a smiley, big mustache, big smiles for Magnus Carlsen. Not necessarily the Magnus interview we always see in the middle of matches. So given how much fun he's having, what does Alireza do to also have some fun and maybe get a little bit better chess too at the same time?
I don't know, maybe he needs to match the mustache. But other than that, Magnus and Hikaru said that Alireza Firouzja is, according to both Magnus and Hikaru, the best bullet player in the world. So if that's the case, what lead does Magnus need going into the bullet is my question. Because maybe it's not a disaster if Alireza is down in the match, as long as it's not a big advantage for Magnus.
Well, I'm curious what you think, Aman. You're a much better bullet player than a lot of people. I would say even better than most grandmasters on average. What is your thought, though, about the increment being something that kind of helps the slightly slower and older players in this case?
Well, the other thing is, when you determine the bullet chess champion, it doesn't have that increment.
Yeah.
And Magnus Carlsen, quite famously, doesn't compete as much in these events. So he's just kind of there, and you think, oh, he's not the best player. Alireza has proven that. But Magnus Carlsen is still there. He's actually very, very good in bullet, maintains a very high rating. And honestly, the bullet experience that he has is in exact events like this. He's not playing casual long matches in bullet. He's playing them in this exact format, this time control. So when you talk about bullet with a +1 second increment, you could make a case that Magnus Carlsen is definitely one of the better players.
And that's what's crazy, right? So I don't even know how to answer the question in terms of what kind of lead. I think that Magnus is kind of in a very clearly positive mood, a one game at a time kind of play. So what does Alireza need, I think, in this 3-1 time control to turn it around? Is it change the openings? You talk about the 5-1 being a bit of where you poke and prod and see. Momentum needs to shift a little bit here for Alireza to get back. What do you think?
I fully agree. And I think Alireza also needs the support of you guys, because we have a lovely
Chanting,
audience
that's the answer.
here in
Chanting,
London.
crowds.
And I want to hear all the fans of Alireza cheering for him. So can we please, Team Alireza?
Let's go,
Your
Alireza, let's
loudest
go!
scream!
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Last night it was crazy in here toward the end. There was someone in the room who was literally screaming when he had chances to win, and I was like, maybe that'll break through the soundproof, but it didn't, apparently. So anyway, we'll see what happens if this thing is scrambling down the stretch. But okay, well, the players are going to be back soon. We're going to take a quick break, let you guys get ready for the 3-1 portion to begin. Before we do, reminder, if what you need is energy right now, NeuroGum, thank you for being our sponsor and energy partner. Get some gum, get some focus, get some mints. The sleep mints might be used later on if everyone's got too much adrenaline after this whole thing. Go to go.chess.com/neuro and get the 15% off code. Get yourself some NeuroGum. We're going to go get some...
I need to cut you off, because yesterday I was chewing NeuroGum backstage, and then you guys were like, should we give out some gums? And I'm like, of course, I'm literally chewing it right now. Everyone should try it, because
it's great.
it works. I was on fire the whole day, and we've been here the entire day.
Yeah,
so
lots
you
of
know how
energy.
many hours
That's where
we
Anna's
had
energy is coming
We've
from.
been
That's
on
where, by the way, in
fire.
case you're wondering.
That's where it comes
There
from.
you go. All
I
right.
mean, I'm full of energy. You know why. Now you know why.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere. The players still got a lot of energy left. We've got the 3-1 portion, and the Speed Chess Championship live finals continues when we get back.
Totem holds the moments that defined champions. Plays that became history.
This time, they may have just won game. The bailout does absolutely nothing. The own horn! BB's a dog!
Across years, across games, across the world. The roar of the crowd. The winning play. The heartbreak. Moments that turned players into champions.
Trying to be feeding through here. He gets broken.
Moments that never fade.
Is it going to be good? Yes, it is. And Weibo will.
As echoes of the past grow distant, the next chapter begins. A new challenge unfolds. Who will define history? Who will rise above?
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Howell.
Whoa.
Oh, that was totally organic, okay?
You did change your plans.
Do you have any time for yourself here, or are you signing autographs, stands over there?
So I'm going to go chill in a minute. So.
Okay. Well, I think a member of your security detail saw me just do that, and they were a little worried that I wasn't so friendly with you. Yes.
You're about to be beaten up.
that is very good. How do you feel about an event of this magnitude being on your home soil?
Yeah, it's nice. Like, it's incredible. Like, I got a bit emotional actually a bit earlier today. Like, just seeing the passion here in the UK. Like, it was my dream when I was a kid. There was nothing like this. Like, there were like barely any people in my chess club, and now everywhere we go, there's love for chess and people who follow the game and kids who like want to be the best. So it's really nice.
And actually, the week leading up to this tournament, even though you've done everything in the chess world, I know you've done some cool things you've never done before. I'll let you let people know as little or as much as you want about that.
Sure. So I arrived in England a few days ago. I played golf with my sporting hero, Andy Murray, world-class tennis player. I played with him and Magnus. I was mainly the caddy because they decided I was too bad to take more than 3 shots. But it was one of the highlights of my life, just hearing 2 great champions talk about chess together. And then I went to Parliament, played some chess. Then we went to a chess club last night, and I had a few too many drinks. So it's been a great week.
Okay, and we know that Magnus has gotten really into golf. As far as I know, there are no public videos out there of Magnus playing golf. How close is he to appearing on one of the golf YouTuber channels?
I'll leak some videos, but it still needs a bit of practice. Andy Murray was just incredible, like pretty much semi-pro, but Magnus, he knows the technique. He knows what he should be doing, just the execution still.
Okay, Magnus not going pro in golf yet. He's still got some Speed Chess Championship to play, but we look forward to some of those golf leaked videos, David.
See you soon.
Awesome, great.
That was okay.
Yeah, that was great. And I forgot everybody had security, so I would not have done that, but it actually turned out pretty well.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2025-2026 Speed Chess Championship. This is the final day of action. Magnus Carlsen versus Alireza Firouzja. I'm International Master Levi Rosman. I'm joined by Grandmaster David Howell, local hero, local super Grandmaster. The 5+1 has just concluded. Both players are back at their setups. Magnus Carlsen has a 2-game lead after 90 minutes of 5+1 blitz. David, do you like what you saw from both, one or neither of the players in the first segment?
Ooh, I think in parts I liked play from both. Alireza, the way he started, the way he bounced back from some early defeats, the way he positionally outplayed Magnus, that bodes well for later. I wasn't a fan of how Magnus started. I think he was a bit lethargic in certain positions, but the energy came back, especially after that huge time scramble, that queen sacrifice we showed, and it feels like now he is locked in. I'm hoping more of the same in the 3+1, as they likely will trade blows early on, and it will be fascinating to see which openings they choose in the early stages.
We've only seen D4 so far, and oh goodness me, that was a little bit of a glitch there. We just got like 10 moves in a row. We've seen this position already. We've seen quite literally this structure, knight b1, okay, a retreating move. Kind of similar, we saw a trade in the center, we saw Magnus go for this. Alireza clearly liked the space advantage, David.
Yeah, now it looks like an old Indian after all of those little transpositions.
These are real names, by the way.
Real names, we promise, and very historic openings. Yeah, it's a case of lost tempi for both sides. The black bishop moved a couple of times, the white knight has moved 3 times now, but back on its perfect square, and white has the pawn center. It's going to be up to Magnus to try and chip away at it somehow, or at least strike against the space advantage.
This is a nice little cagey setup by black. You've got pressure on c4, pressure on d4. Much more fast-paced game. And then the 1+1 is going to feel even quicker. Alireza has to make a lot of decisions here, and this is not so simple. Do you push a pawn, trade a pawn, leave it everything exactly as is, reinforce, develop the dark squared bishop? Yeah, literally you could draw every arrow.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And okay, this forces Magnus's reply at least. The black queen needed to open up, otherwise the white knight would have been the one creating pressure on the c-file. I quite like this move, although big questions about what happens if black now goes forward and hits the white dark squared bishop. That tends to be the downside if you develop to e3 without having played the move pawn to h3. You don't cover every square in your half. But knight to g4, maybe the white bishop would move. The d5 square is also a bit of a weakness for white to use. Very tense position, but I tend to be inclined towards the center here, Levy. Magnus is trying to play kind of low responsibility chess. Quick moves, he doesn't mind being a bit cramped, but will it pay off?
David, I have very bad news. I have just been told that in the last 9 SCC finals, which is basically all of them, whoever wins the 5+1 has won the match.
Wow, that is ominous. That is bad news. There have been some close matches in time, though. Oh, I remember one big final between Magnus, Hikaru. It went right down to the wire.
Yep, and Hikaru started with a 4-game lead in that match, and then Magnus evened it out. Now, we should all be cheering for something historic. That's really what we should be cheering for. If Alireza Firouzja changes the momentum here, okay, he's keeping the tension in the center instead of locking it all up with d5. But if he gets a win here, it'd be anybody's match.
Exactly. I think it was a stylistic thing there. d5 was a strong move, playing against the black light squared bishop, which is actually now quite strong, hitting the central pawn in a lot of variations. But blocking it up isn't necessarily Firouzja's style in general. So he rather would have a knight on f5, some tactical concepts, some knight sacrifices. Every time I play him, he sacrifices something on h6. It seems to work. But for now, Magnus has got all bases covered, and the knight goes back. Isolated pawn for black, but white's e-pawn equally weak right now.
Yeah, this is very high-level stuff. Bishop to f8, g6, bishop g7, repositioning, because the bishop on the central square was comfortable, but that was just about it. It was utterly useless. On g7, it is a much better piece, and Alireza is going to realize quite quickly he can't really conjure something up here. He might have to resort to h4, but h4 is also not particularly effective because of h5. And that h5 voluntarily played by Magnus. You might even move the bishop to h6.
Great move from Magnus Carlsen. He does love pushing those corner pawns. h4 is really, really awkward for this misplaced white knight, which is controlled, can never jump forward again. And as you say, Levy, bishop h6 is surprisingly awkward for white to face. He's going to have to just shift his rook up, blocking his own queen. Clumsy. Clumsy stuff, and Alireza plays h4 reluctantly. Oh, it's starting to turn in black's favor. Easier moves for black. All of his pieces in action. Knight on e5 next.
You might just have to leave the rook exactly as it is. As I say that, he will play rook to c2, but you could have maybe given it up and then tried to get the queen to the other side, but that's bullet strategy and not 3+1 strategy. He only has 40 seconds, though.
Oh, this could be the tilt that we were talking about, how it spirals after the 5+1. It's not the 5+1 in it of itself that decides things, but it's the way you feel afterwards, and he's almost in must-win territory, he probably feels.
This is very interesting. He's giving up the f3 bishop. He can take it, and then you say, oh, my king's open. Not really. In fact, it's more insulated than ever. So now we have a trade. Alireza is just a couple moves away maybe from figuring things out here, but he doesn't have that much time.
Yeah, big moment. Again, the trade is possible, but I'm not sure that's profitable here. The white bishop was suddenly gaining a lot of power. Now the white bishop can move, but there will be a return of the black bishop into the white camp. It's just so awkward, this toing and froing of the position. Black's improving, white's not.
Yeah, bishop f4. Wow, queen a2 is resourceful, but it just doesn't feel right.
What was I saying about queen trades against Magnus? You don't really want them. Maybe here he has to. But 20 seconds in a worse endgame. The black knight later will come into c4 once things are guarded on the diagonal. The black rook could shift its attentions to the open file. Advantage black.
Yeah, certainly. Taking a step back is a little bit surprising, though. And now Alireza might be back in the game. Does Magnus know his own weaknesses, David?
Exactly. Magnus just wants to play the best moves. That's the thing. But when in doubt, he tends to go for those queen exchanges. I like what Alireza is doing. He's clearing half the board, and he's saying, okay, worst comes to worst on the other side, on the king side. Even if he drops a pawn, even if he has doubled pawns, he only has to worry about one flank. One weakness might not be enough for Magnus to win this game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the queen's going to go to a6. And now Magnus, 50 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, 20, though. Under 20 for Alireza, who drops back. I really like how he's handled the last phase. It feels like he's consolidated, covered all the bases.
Bishop b3 is coming. He's going to trade black's very good bishop and open up his own rook to target the d6 pawn. Magnus in the tank here, 35 seconds on the clock. He's not so happy anymore.
Bring on the scramble. It's coming. Magnus is tanking. Drops back with his knight.
Bishop to e3.
Levy, how about this one? This is not me, by the way. Bishop, oh, it's Alireza. Bishop takes h5.
Alireza Firouzja sacrificing a bishop to open up the king. There's no clear fault. Queen h4, he just takes it. Doesn't even participate.
Wow, he would rather not have a white knight sitting on an outpost for eternity with the black king open.
g3 is a fork.
Watch out. Retreat mode. Backpedal. Has to go back.
And the time is even. Alireza even up on the clock.
This could easily turn in white's favor. If there's no checkmate, everything's covered for now by the white knight. If there's no checkmate, black has the isolated pawn. White can start trading stuff off in the near future.
And the white queen is protected here. Alireza might have a moment. Okay, he trades the queens. He didn't take David's advice, but the position looks fantastic for white.
Yeah. Knight on d5, that will thrive. That threatens all the forks. There we go. Only white now surely can win this game. Small advantage, but long-term one.
Yeah, but the rook might be coming down to the second rank. White will have to get the rook, and okay, that's a very timely move from Magnus. And now, in all likelihood, this will end up in a draw.
Yeah, rook a1 was so important. Otherwise, black was possibly losing a pawn there. The black bishop would have been on a really awkward square, and this is a dead draw now.
Yeah, this is just a total fortress. Neither player will be able to make any progress. Magnus could ask some questions. He's very, very tricky in these positions, but if somebody loses this, it's more impressive than winning it.
Yeah, it's too early, right, to start thinking about the match clock, doing a Hikaru, as I call it, trying to eat time off.
But actually, Magnus probably saw some of the threads and was like, it's not fair Hikaru is getting hate. He's just doing what any sportsman would do, so now I'm going to do the same.
Exactly. And this has not changed at all in the last few moves. But they continue to go round. Oh, Magnus just in time to stop Alireza's king breaking through. And they start repeating the position now. Magnus is the one playing on and making things a little different every time.
That had to have been a 3-time repetition. What is going on?
They're choosing different squares, but now finally the draw is confirmed. Decent start for both sides.
Certainly, it got a little dicey for Alireza, but if he had locked the center early, he would have had a nice position. Folks, our first e4 in some 100 minutes of chess, and it is a Sicilian, but it is a Magnus 2026 edition Sicilian. He is playing the Italian game against the Sicilian, something we tell beginners not to do because their bishop gets blocked, there's no fried liver stuff. But when you are 33-30, you can do what you want and you don't have to listen to the YouTubers.
Magnus has been playing this consistently in the last few months. The World Rapid and Blitz, every Sicilian he was playing e4 most of the time. He played this bishop c4 line. So there's no excuse for Alireza not to have expected this. He's had a fast start, brought his bishop out, made a pin, now pushing in the center. He had to have prepared for this line. Magnus has been religiously sticking to it recently.
Fans, let's see some energy in the chat for the that's the in the live audience. Not everything is digital. Feel free to make some noise. Honestly, the players appreciate it. You know, the position's equal. They love the energy. It's a new format for them, but they are not new to this. Let's put it this way. They have been here before. Magnus has said he loves when the crowd gets into it. He loved jeering and making, gestures at the crowd in Riyadh when they were cheering for the opposition. He likes to shush the crowd. If you see Alireza pulling off some wins, get some hype going. If Magnus is doing it, well, I mean, that's what Magnus does all the time. But Alireza here having a nice time with the black pieces.
Exactly. The eval bar is on black side. That's because there's an awkward pressure on white pawns. Check this out. The white bishop now, the Italian bishop that we were talking about, is hit. Might actually have to start retreating. That is sad, sad news for white. Pressure now on the pawns as well. Awkward pin. You can't break it without losing some time here. Magnus looks uncomfortable. Rook now coming to hit his queen. Everything going in black's favor for now, but still nothing tangible.
Yeah, and 6 out of your 8 pieces should not be on the last rank on the 20th move of the game, unless, of course, you are indeed Magnus. That's kind of like in jiu-jitsu when you just lay on your back, and apparently that's considered a sport. But black is advancing on the queen side. He will chop down at some point. The rook will get in. Maybe you can go for g5 ideas, but it's always very risky to do so. You do open yourself up for a counter-attack.
Yeah, he played g5 a lot against Hikaru with success, Alireza, but it was in more closed central positions. d4 first. That's a strong move. Pawn cannot be captured. The black knight would enter the center, and queen d2. Oh, look at white's pieces, so clumsy, Levy.
Yeah, this is strange. You would love to take on f3 in a traditional circumstance, and white would have to play g-takes. But there's a freaking bishop on d1. How did that spawn there? That's not normal. It's like you booted up a chess game and there's a glitch. DC was relieving the tension for a second time, by the way. Second time he's done this in 2 games. He likes to plant these concrete outpost types of squares for his pieces, but he opens up the position too much, and maybe there's even bishop f6 ideas.
Yeah, is that a good thing? Yes, it parts with the bishops, but it does double pawns here. Nice to see some very enthusiastic fans there in the back. Knight g3 played.
Yes. Got content creators. We have my wife in the audience as well. Shout out. Love you very much. And thank you. I don't know. I think production is bored. Like, really, I don't know what this is. There are 2 of the best players in the world. Let's keep the cameras on them. But yes, all your fans are lovely. We couldn't read them because they moved them too fast. But it said something about betting your life savings. Please don't do that. All right, not financial advice.
Oh, big moments. g5 was actually the best move in the position just a turn ago. The blue arrow appeared. That would have actually trapped the white bishop for some awkward exchanges for white, but I think that would have been too impractical, especially in a blitz format. Bishop to g6, and Magnus is applying extra pressure on the pinned piece. Blocked. Loads of trades incoming, but once the dust settles, white does have an isolated pawn here. Good news long-term for Alireza, who still has over a minute. He's sped up slightly compared to the first game of the section.
Absolutely. I don't like this weakness on d3. White is just going to rely on counter punches on c5 and f6 and so on. Why is his bishop on d1, right? Like, it's absurd you can have a position that looks like this and not be significantly worse. You would love to trade everything, but definitely you're going to be losing a pawn here. Alireza needs a win. If he tastes blood in this segment, it's going to be totally different than it was last year, frankly 2 years ago. But that's what we're sort of hoping for. Magnus deep in thought.
Yeah, it feels like he's been playing freestyle chess. All these retreats, bishops on d1. It's been awkward, and he doesn't look comfortable at all, Magnus. Slight shake of the head. What's he going to do? I mean, it feels like he just has to exchange stuff off and just accept a pawn down endgame. But he's reluctant. He knows that d3 is dropping. But I think it's dropping anyway. You might as well stomach an endgame where your opponent has doubled pawns, where you can get slightly active, maybe a rook to the 7th rank, go for some pawns a bit later. Big moment. 30 seconds now for Magnus. And the pieces come off.
He spent a lot of time getting here. He's mostly just coming to terms with it. He could have played this in about 1 second. It's just not a decision you make lightly. Shout out to the Norwegian flag.
Oh, he's cold.
Oh, look at that. Wow. Or maybe he was doing the ice-cold celebration, like in sport. I love that. If he wins the game and does that, that would be incredible. But Alireza is he's just much better here, David.
He's got a huge advantage, extra pawn, and it's a very strong one. Passed pawn, knight to d5 looks like it traps the rook. Knight to d5, was that a rook trap?
Yeah, we got Magnus signs, Speed Chess Championship. Let's focus on the game here. We got like 17 seconds on the clock for the world number 1.
Missed opportunity. I think Alireza could have had a decisive advantage. He's still better, but that d-pawn is going to struggle to move forward. He cements his knight at least. He's going to come in with his rook and maybe go for the white a-pawn. How to defend? Can Magnus defend? It's very, very passive for now, but he's still alive. Under 20 seconds.
But this is a great position. The knight jumping into the middle. It's amazing rook c4 doesn't just win on the spot, by the way.
Rook c4, he's going to... Oh, he's maybe going to give a check?
Yes, that's the only... Yeah.
I was thinking knight jumps, but they didn't work. Rook g4 would protect the rook, and the white knight would be free to move. Miracle there. But we'll see it unfold.
He's going for it. Obviously, if you keep trading, you're still winning. Okay, you're not winning. That's what I said, obviously. And clearly Magnus knows this as well.
That is surprising. The white rook on g4 wasn't doing much. It was misplaced. Black's rook was so active. Why trade off an active piece for a passive one? Still better, of course, with the extra pawn, but it's turning. Magnus's king is playing. Black's king is absent here from the fight. Maybe he's surviving this. King c3. The knight's going to try and pick up the d pawn.
Alireza needs to make sure he doesn't end up losing this endgame. Because he has a lot of pawns advanced, and he could lose them one by one and then go down. Wow, f4. What was that? Rook c5.
Wow, Magnus wants the passed a-pawn. If rooks had come off there, the white knight would have traveled back, and now it's getting that a-pawn. Rook trade. Check first. The king has to move somewhere.
Maybe a... Wow, d2. And now you're going to check and win the pawn, and at least Alireza will be safe here.
Knight e7 check was also possible there, but this is going to be a long grind. Lots of time's going to be eaten off the match clock. 3 versus 2. Must be a draw levy, but only black can win.
Yeah, and if you're Alireza Firouzja, you almost want to force the game into a draw as fast as possible. That's actually not a completely unreasonable thing to do, because Magnus is winning the match.
Just no breakthrough, no pawn trades, no pass pawns. White's got the perfect formation and draw. Wow, what a cagey start to the 3+1. Really high quality chess, but still no wins for Alireza.
No, nobody can break through. Having said that, if we get to the bullet and it is a 2-game match, you gotta think the young superstar, touted by many as if this was a 1+0 tournament, he very well could be the champion. 1+1 is not the same. It's a little bit different, considering you have increment, but can he pull that off? I like this. Expansion, big center, maybe for a kingside attack, maybe a d5 break in the future. How does Magnus hold him back here? This is a close type of Catalan game.
Yeah, this is really, really tense stuff. Alireza takes willingly the space advantage. The black knight is now forced back to a really passive square. Black is going to try and activate his bishop, though. Ooh, big moment. Bishop to a6 is in the air if that pawn is recaptured, given a question mark. But what is the idea there? Oh, he retreats. Levy, I think he might have miscalculated in that position. I think he could have given up the exchange by taking on c4, taking on c6. I think that's even opening theory. But missed opportunity.
Yeah, but he's going for this locked center approach. I've even seen Magnus play like this with the white side. He gives away this pawn on c4, Catalan style, black advances. I swear I've seen like 5 different games, like Carlsen Mamedyarov or something. Maybe the colors are flipped. Black just advances on the queen side, and white goes h4, knight e4, knight g5. But I have to say this is better for bullet, because in blitz you have enough time not to panic on the king side.
It's such high risk for white. I don't know if it's the situation that calls for it right now. Let's just go back, because I want to show this, Levy, and this could be important if they keep repeating this opening. Just a few moves ago, d takes c4 was given a question mark. Queen takes pawn. Bishop to a6 with a skewer is the idea. But if white takes on c6, and if the rook is captured, then there's this intermediate move, e takes f6, hitting a bishop, which will hit the queen, and white will emerge with 2 pieces for a rook. Some tactics there. I don't think it's so difficult to calculate. He kind of brushed over this moment, and now he's very much all in on a kingside attack.
There was also something yesterday where Hikaru and Alireza kept playing into something, but it didn't quite work out. That was actually Hikaru believing Alireza, and here Alireza is believing Magnus. Of course, you make decisions very quickly. You don't really think twice about it. But there it is. I mean, here comes the kingside stuff. I don't think this is easy at all for black. But if there was a format in which to play it in, which is really, really strong, it is 1+1.
Well, we've just seen our first en passant, I believe, of the finals here.
Woo!
Woo! Forced, of course, and some exchanges. This is the live position, given a question mark. Magnus not happy. Something's gone wrong, he feels. Uncomfortable position for black. Suddenly weaknesses appearing.
Yeah, what did he miss there? I mean, bishop f6 was a very, very natural move. I guess he didn't want to lose the pawn on e6, quite simply. But knight e5 is extremely powerful. If you lose the pawn on c6, your position is horrible. But bishop g5 is also horrible. I mean, I don't know which one you go for here.
This is hard for Magnus. It's not easy suddenly. Bishop g5. is such a scary threat. I think he's afraid of this one more than anything. He might be forced to sacrifice his exchange, just leave the rook on that square, rook to c8, played. There was a miss given a moment ago, by the way, for everyone at home. Rook to e1 was apparently even stronger, hitting the e6 pawn than knight e5, but the most human move he played. And, he's lining up now.
No, this is bad. This is very, very unpleasant. You're not defending this with 1 minute less on the clock than they have right now. I keep talking about the bullet, but 1:30. How does Alireza... Yes, he goes bishop g5. And now what? Now what? The rook is going to move. Then what's the move?
Oh.
Oh, because rook f8, knight g6 is just... Oh, no, knight g6?
Oh, setting up. Maybe rook f8 first, queen h4. Just quickly put it on the board. Magnus is going to leave his rook here, I think, but rook to f8 would lose on the spot to a move like queen h4, queen h5 with knight g6 smothered mate. Almost unstoppable.
They have to play g6 and you just lose everything.
Mm-hmm. So the rook cannot move. The blue arrow appears, Levy. How hard is that?
Well, you know you can't move the rook, so it's just a matter of what move do I play right now that is impactful and good. It's hard to play bishop d6 because you don't feel it does anything. If you take on e5, white just takes with the pawn, and that kind of kicks you out a little bit more. There you go. Knight c6 maybe even before you play bishop f6.
Wow, and the bar rises. It goes sky high. I hear some applause in the audience, people getting excited. Magnus is not happy at all. I don't think you should take this rook, though. I don't think white should rush. Maybe the pawn would recapture. Instead, he drops back his queen, and that rook is frozen. The threat, the idea, the ghost of knight g6 now in the air.
Knight g6 looks... Yeah, he just goes for counterplay. I'm not really sure there's anything else you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Not so simple, though, yeah? I mean, what do you play here? Can you play bishop g6 with the idea of, like, bishop f6, knight f7, and, like, you know, all ripping apart the position?
I like it. Just up the ante. Maybe there's no rush. Maybe you can just kind of take a time out, defend b2, or maybe even play b3. But he's looking for the kill. He's leaning in, Alireza.
Actually, bishop g6, bishop f6 just threatens gf, knight f7, and queen h6 mate. So that's... that might not be the best move, but it is quite nasty.
Oh, it's in the air, but b3 apparently a mistake, and now black again needs to find bishop d6. Will it be second time lucky for Magnus? He didn't spot it last time.
No. Now he can get forked and have a rook taken.
Oof. It feels like knight g6 ideas will come with extra power as well. I mean, you can take one, and then you can take another rook with knight g6. It can be two exchanges to the good. But he doesn't want any material, Alireza.
What is Alireza like trying to do ultimately? I mean, of course he's completely dominant. He just doesn't see the breakthrough. He is trying to make Magnus panic here.
At some point he's got to cash in, surely. Like, there's material to be taken, therefore he takes the rook. Finally, there's a c6 pawn that's been hanging for a few moves here. He goes the other way.
Oh, double rook sack for Magnus, or did he just not see that? What is this?
Where else? I guess rook f7 was the only way, but then the e6 pawn was hanging. He'd far rather have a grip. At least he's attacking the white queen.
Oh, Alireza's going to lose his d4 pawn, and this is not simple whatsoever.
Wow, all the pawns for black. He even wants a queen trade, but rook sacrifice back, Levy.
He sacrifices the rook. Bishop d4, queen d4. There's queen d8 incoming.
Wow, brilliant move there. The queens might come off, but on white's terms. Queen c5 dodges, and we'll see that. A queen check at the top of the board.
And then you have to block, and a5 begins to fall. Queen d6, okay.
Oh, he's just material up with an attack. The white bishop's doing such a good job of stopping the black pawn there.
Take it. Rook e7. I thought rook e7 just looked completely winning.
That would have been game over, it feels like. Maybe c2 ideas, though. Counterplay. Magnus has centralized his queen.
Queen e5, no? Just queen e5 has to... Just feels like...
Maybe take and then queen e5.
Yes. Okay, I don't like how panicked Alireza is.
Oh, both sides have sacrificed rooks. Magnus is improving, though. That's a big pawn.
And he's going to just probably take on f4. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, just in time to defend himself.
But it's so stuck. How does white make progress?
Probably. Oh, now how does white make progress is the real question.
He gives a check.
Queen e3 he can play?
He needs to get his king off the back rank. King h2 maybe, and oh, Magnus is closing the door on the white rook.
No, but this doesn't work. He just takes it. He doesn't. Yeah, that's it. And Alireza is... Okay, I thought there was going to be a resignation.
Not over yet. White is struggling for a plan, but there we go, f4, and the black king has to give way, and Alireza takes the win.
Alireza Firouzja, what a game. There was 3 rooks out of a possible 4 sacrificed in that game. I know what's going to be on the thumbnail now. Just kidding, it was always going to be Magnus. Now, Queen's Gambit declined. in this game. This is exactly what we wanted, David. What a win for Alireza. A tense battle. I said in that structure, it's typical for White to end up getting a checkmating attack. And even in this format, he got it done. You hyped?
Yeah, I can't wait. And it's back to this old friend, this opening. Magnus looks tired, Levy. I think this is fantastic news. This might be the momentum Alireza needs. Backing it up, though. One win is not enough on its own. He needs to keep racking up those points, whether it's draws, wins, stay within touching distance ahead of the bullet.
Small question. So he said he was cold. I thought they would be bringing him like a Team Liquid branded like hoodie. But what if you turn up the temperature in the playing hall and then Alireza says it's too hot? Now what? Now they have a chess game going to the arbiter while playing more chess. Like, how do you take care of that? But I thought he was going to get something put on. I guess they turned up the heat?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think peek behind the curtain here, the players do have personal fans just below the desks because they were saying it was too hot in there. So I guess they'll just be turning off Magnus's fan, letting him warm up a bit.
I see. Fascinating insights into the incredible world of how to take care of the physical body while playing such a mental sport. They do say they're probably going to burn like 1,000 calories during this match, right? Your heart rate, like all that stuff. It is pretty mind-blowing. Do they eat snacks?
I know Magnus likes to snack between games, and often that brings him a lot of success. Very, very in tune with the diet, the regime. I'm not sure about other players, actually. This position, though, looks so easy for White to play. But if there's no breakthrough on the king side, then Black is doing quite well long-term.
H3, yeah. I mean, you're playing something where it looks like now White is going to have to go for a checkmating attack. Alireza must love it. Black would love to play c4, b5, b4. Not so simple because you don't control the b5 square right now. So the question is, what does Black do?
Big, big moment. Alireza needs a plan, but it's going to cost him some time on the clock. That feels like the wrong direction. Where's the queen going from there? And the blue arrow appears, trying to take advantage of the consequences of bringing the queen away from the king side. Levy, does that win a pawn? Does the black bishop then have to move back? Some exchanges and maybe something hanging in the center? Something's in the air.
Yeah, I think Alireza is relying on the fact that in that sequence he takes on d4, and then the queen would be attacking the knight on d5. Yes, f5 f5's not a move you want to play, though, because it doesn't feel right. You did all this to put the knight on e5, but he missed his chance. And now David Firouzja's crashing in on the c3 knight, which means a4 will fall. e4 is under attack.
Yeah, timing. f5 was so key there, but Magnus reluctant to calculate. 2 minutes, waves from the crowd. Waves of emotion, of course, when that last game finished.
This feels like Squid Game. You know when you can see all the participants and you're just like the frontman and you're sitting? This is what it feels like. They can't see us. We can see you. Keep the energy high. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for waving at the camera. We are waving back. You just can't see it. I promise. Never has there been a more parasocial relationship. Knight back to e2. I like it because you're not actually going to lose the knight on c3 and the black bishop and queen kind of feel stuck, David. But now this is just looking pretty nice for Alireza. Uh-oh, is that rook trapped?
Wow, that rook only has one safe square, really, one active safe square, rook c1, but f6 is even better, going for the black king.
A fourth rook sacrifice. Can you believe it?
Oh, he's thinking about it. Magnus loves exchange sacrifices in general, especially positional ones, but here it's really natural. It's the move he wants to play next anyway. It's just whether he feels he has time. And the rook sacrifice, I think White would just ignore that and continue creating threats. Maybe pawn takes pawn, maybe the queen would threaten checkmate on the g-file.
Maybe his original intention was actually to just play like rook c1. Probably saw like, oh, my a4 pawn doesn't matter because I'm always threatening f6. Now Alireza is forcing...
Oof.
I mean...
Alireza would have played f6.
Yeah, I don't golf with Magnus, but you know, rook c1's probably what he was thinking there, and now Alireza's always in time to create some counterplay.
And pieces come off the board, which means that the white attack will not be quite as ferocious. Rook takes rook, given the blue arrow. Does give black the advantage according to the computer, but it does feel like, in practical terms, it's in the balance.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. And if you don't checkmate black here, you're just going to probably lose the endgame. You'll have two bishops versus two knights. The black pawn on e4 will become a monster because the bishops will support it. You'll lose a pawn on the outside of the board. The bishops will support an outside pass pawn. Knights are terrible at controlling the outside pass pawn, and that is why Firouzja plays f6. Magnus is dangerously close to having no attack. He has to play queen g3 with a counter attack on the bishop there.
Wow, and he's seen the idea because he wants to play queen g3 or first. Knight takes one of these pawns and then queen g3 with full board awareness there, double attack. Bishop d6 has to be played to stop that idea.
But that's just like putting a bishop into outer space, but it controls such an important square. That's all he's doing, and he finds the move. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Fantastic move from Alireza. So calm. ignoring pawns, just controlling squares.
That was one of the 2 out of 10 times it was good to go backwards. When you do it, you'll lose. When he does it, it's really good. That's very important. And now that bishop just controls such an important g3, f4. How does white even coordinate an attack now?
Yeah, if the black queen ever gets to this diagonal, I know this is covered for now, but that diagonal long term, watch out. The white king might be toast, might be in big, big trouble. The bishop goes back first. He's trying to somehow clear a path or plant his bishop on some active squares to support this pawn coming through. White might have to go passive. Another retreat. This time might be one of those 8 out of the 10 where it doesn't quite work out for white. Maybe nothing else.
Nothing else. But you know what? Now the tide of the game is going to shift a little bit, because now it does feel like Firouzja's sort of figuring a few things out. But what does he do now? He kind of stopped the threats. How does he go from here? Magnus can still... Okay, he jumps the wrong knight into d5. We saw that with the blue arrow, but it's tough to understand why. b5 now, trying to destabilize the queen side.
Okay, pawn trade. The a4 pawn was hanging for a long time. He was never able to quite win it, so maybe some frustration. But b4 is a threat to break the connection between the 2 white knights.
This is a terrible position for white. I was like, what do you play here? Queen h4, he's just going for sacrifices.
Yeah, he's going all in, Magnus Carlsen. Those chips are being pushed into the center.
Rook f8?
Yeah, why not?
e4 falls, though. Oh, that is...
Another one of those 2 out of 10.
That's like the best move he's played, and he has been playing incredible. Queen d8's amazing. Rook e1, now b4. Can he call the bluff on the center here?
Ooh, bishop to b8, also very logical. Knight takes e4 has been played, though. I was going to say, black was threatening to come in with the queen with a nasty mate. But now white is pinned all over the shop.
What a move, king h8, and now the knight has no moves to check the king.
Wow, queen takes knight would have been a huge blunder, as the white knight would have jumped out the way with a check, and the black rook would have been hanging more sacrifices. Magnus is a piece down, though.
And he's going to be 2 pieces down for half a move.
He's gambling on a perpetual check, but is it? The black king's running. 2 extra bishops.
He's scrambling to the other side of the board. Oh, he trades the queen, and can he escape, David? Yes? No?
Who knows? Who knows? He's kept his bishop defended. The black queen holds the bishop, and he's marching, but he's blundered his other bishop.
Oh, no. Oh, no, but now he has this.
He's trying to get the queens off, or will it be checkmate? If the checks dry up, black is winning.
Oh, Alireza needs this game, David.
He's keeping the b pawn alive. Without that pawn, it would be a draw, but now he's transitioned into a winning endgame.
This is a winning king and pawn endgame. Oh, no, it's not!
What's happened? Now the black bishop is stuck defending its pawn, and the black king cannot make progress. Magnus has built a fortress.
This is unbelievable, and Alireza Firouzja was just moments away there, and it's a draw. Wow.
Oh, Magnus laughing. That is relief. That is relief erupting from him. He was on the edge there. He created counterplay, credit to him, but Alireza looking back with regret on a missed opportunity.
And for the good of the people, it is now 6-7. Alireza Firouzja, Magnus Carlsen. It was super, super close there, David. That was a great game and a great moment for a break for Magnus.
He needed it. He was really on the ropes there, low on energy. Alireza just checked back. He knew he was winning as he leaves the arena. Levy, he's playing so well right now. The bullet is almost around the corner. What's he thinking?
Honestly, what I would be thinking now is, hey, I got this. Like, I'm very close to tying up this match. It could have been a totally different, it could have been 6.5, 6.5. But Alireza, young guy, you got to play up to the memes. All joking aside, he leads the 3+1 so far, and he led the 5+1. So he is playing fantastic, and we could have not asked for a better match. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, I was just hoping it would be close. I didn't think it would be this close. I had fears that maybe Magnus would emerge with too big a lead. But the 3+1's been so narrow. I mean, Alireza's leading that one. He's outplaying Magnus, at least, regularly, which is a great sign.
Hey, you know the match has been amazing? You know what else is amazing? Zenny. Let me tell you about Zenny. Zenny is the official eyewear partner of chess.com. And I think at this point there's supposed to be some beautiful thing, but I'll just, I will tell you this. I will tell you this. These are Zennies. This is not product placement. They are on my face, the official eyewear partner of chess.com, because high quality eyewear is now more affordable than ever. Quality within reach. Never say cheap, David, right? This is beautiful. This is beautiful right here. And you put these on, you find all the best moves. We've got some demos here, I think, in these containers. I know you wore some yesterday.
I did.
And
Let's do it. Let's make a change. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
There we go. Zenny at the double.
Oh my goodness, we've got some black glasses here. I like my white transparent ones. David looking good. Oh my, can we get a camera on David? David, my goodness. Folks, save 15% off with code CHESS until February 16th. Go to zenny.com/chess, zenni.com/chess, CHESS. Go there now. We'll be right back.
Zenny is the official eyewear partner of Chess.com. They have hundreds, no, thousands of affordable frames that you can try on virtually from home and customize to your liking. I personally use their blue light blocking glasses every single day, especially in the afternoon when the workday gets long and I know I'm going to be putting in the extra hours of screen time staring at chess while I lose one bullet game after another. But okay, you might not be losing as many bullet games as me, but you definitely need to protect your eyes just as much as anyone else. So consider heading over to Zenny now through February 16th and use the promo code CHESS to save 15% on any pair of glasses.
It's 2 a.m. Stop the tilt.
Clear the board. Buy yourself time. Magnet. Pull every shield your way. Royal Frenzy!
How long can you survive?
Come on, the board's waiting.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2025-2026 Speed Chess Championship. We are in London, and this is Magnus Carlsen versus Alireza Firouzja, the final of all finals, the rematch of the 2024 showdown, which Magnus Carlsen won convincingly. We're about halfway through the match, a little bit more. In the 5+1, 5 minute with 1 second bonus time segment, Magnus Carlsen took a 2-game lead. And Alireza Firouzja so far leads the 3+1. The overall match rather is 7-6, or as some would say, 6-7. We've got about 30 minutes remaining in this portion, and then we will play bullet chess 1+1. Magnus Carlsen getting settled in. Earbuds will be in. Chess will be on the big screen, and moves will get underway. How's the match been so far?
It's been wild. The quality has been insanely high throughout. Yes, there have been a couple of slip-ups in the time scrambles, but strategically, tactically, they're spotting stuff, practical sacrifices and gambles from Magnus just paying off at the end there to maintain his lead. I've been impressed. It's been less topsy-turvy than yesterday's semi-final between Alireza and Hikaru, but we know how good he is in the 1+1. Magnus must be feeling the pressure. He was snacking away in the break, chewing up there. And we're back to the Bogo Indian with that check. Magnus now goes for a solid version, trading off the bishop for knight, but parting with the bishop pair.
Yes, now we will be seeing a Queen's Indian setup for black with the lack of the dark squared bishop. White will not get the traditional approach with g3, bishop g2, the kingside fianchetto. We're going to slowly ease into this one, but I have to say that break came at a good moment because Alireza was catching fire. Alireza is a really, really streaky player. When he feels like he is playing well, good lord does he play well. And Magnus here, look at this, taking a pawn, opening up the g-file. David, what can we expect?
Yeah, this is a big, big decision for Magnus Carlsen, but I think he studied this type of thing before. He wants to get the g-file. Black has great control over this long square, this long diagonal here on the light squares. And yes, the kings are both castled to the same side, but I don't think that's bad news for black. With the bishops, they want open diagonals. They want targets. They don't have any right now, and Magnus is doing Magnus things with the h-pawn marching.
For sure, it's very difficult here for white to actually make these bishops happy. He's going to have to reposition his knight. In repositioning his knight, he's going to then block some of the other pieces. Like, the only way to move the dark squared bishop into the game is maybe via c1. To do that, you have to move the king and then the bishop, but Magnus chooses to go a little passive, and this might let Alireza get in the game a bit here.
Yeah, big moment.
f4?
Ooh, tempting, right? Before the black knight clamps down on that square. Yes, it's a pawn sacrifice, but the dark squared bishop would be thanking you. Oh, I love it, Levy. f4 not played, though. That would have been up Alireza's alley for sure. Instead, we see a blocked position with the knights jumping.
Yeah, this position now with the knight getting to f5, still not bad, but after black's bishop gets to c8, it's just going to chop it down. Alireza has to get the dark squared bishop out before it's too late.
He moves his king, he shuffles. His next move is almost for sure going to be a bishop retreat to try and kick away this knight. That knight can be backed up, though, by its fellow knight here. Very, very tense.
And then what?
And then what?
And then what? Like, yeah, absolutely, I get it. I don't understand why the computer thinks that black is so much better. Maybe some queen d7, queen h3, like you have to... Ooh. Or that. That could be it. Yeah, that's a problem.
Great move. It looks surprising, but actually the white queen cannot go forward when it gets hit in a moment. He's going to have to retreat all the way home. And now black inches forward. He's improved all of his pieces. The problem is this is a typical Magnus grind. He loves close centers, slow improvement moves, minimal risk right now. No energy for the opponents. He's trying to kill Firouzja's momentum.
And plenty of energy for Magnus. He is still chewing, by the way. That whatever it was, it is fueling him throughout this game. 2 minutes on the clock, approximately, for both players. Yeah, Alireza is not happy here, but he is just going to sit, and he is going to let Magnus approach and see if he can fire back at some point.
Ooh, he does part with the g-file, though. Black has this open line. Watch out for any infiltration later. For now, it's all covered. The white knight is the glue holding things together, covers the black rook from landing on g2, most importantly, and finally some counterplay. He's going to be trying to smash open the queen side sooner or later, but knight g2 very, very strong. Kicking away, trading off that key defender.
Threatening to infiltrate with the rook right after, so Alireza is not going to have the time to play c5.
It was so important as well. Before c5, maybe the white knight could have come this way to escape the trade. But knight g4 instead.
Very tricky.
Blocking the g-file, most importantly.
You could have taken it with the light squared bishop if you were Magnus, but then that would have opened things up. Instead, he does this. Maybe f5 is an idea?
Ooh, f5 definitely on the cards now. There are knight h6 tricks, very Alireza-esque. Just a fork there, knight h6 would attack the rook, would have attacked f5 as well, but the black knights now are the ones plugging the gaps.
But if white stabilizes, although that's extremely difficult considering g4 is hanging, he'll get c5 and c6, and if anybody on the planet can checkmate you from this position, it is Alireza, but he's definitely not so happy here.
Yeah, the problem is he can't get his queen on the diagonal. Like c5, he would love to get his queen up and round to a6, but all the squares are covered. He's going to have to do a bit of a stutter step here. Queen to d2 first, and black is first to get in.
Yeah, this is an absolute demolition job, a positional masterpiece. The queen not only stops the white queen or any piece from advancing forward, it's going to take on h2, and then black is just going to promote the h-pawn.
That's the future queen. Just cutting across the third rank is full domination. White can barely move a piece. Magnus can slow play this now. Take all the time in the world. What to do? What's the best bet for Alireza long term? Is it just install a pawn here and hope for checkmate? What to do?
Says sacrifice the rook there. Love the poster. It would be not a good decision at this very moment. Although, to be honest with you, frankly, not any move looks particularly effective. This is such a clinical game, I'm not sure he repeats this line.
Exactly. Or at least if he does, he's not going to allow the center to block up. He puts a pawn on c6, so if the white queen ever does land on a6, maybe checkmate, but wow, check this out. There was a double hit on the white rook, which couldn't have been sacrificed, and now the black knight transports over to pick up the a3 pawn. This is just over. Maybe Alireza just resigns this game, moves on to the next one.
Yeah, this is the best game Magnus has played in quite some time. Actually, twice now in this match, when Alireza picked up steam, Magnus just came back in emphatic fashion. 3.5, 2.5 in that first segment. Then Magnus wins 3 in a row. Alireza leads this segment, and Magnus getting a win. Well, it's not over yet, but this is the best game he's played in like an hour.
It's that gum. Is it the neuro gum? Whatever Magnus is chewing, it's magical. Giving him powers there, and the clock turns red. Alireza in huge time trouble. He's going to click the resign button. There we go. Magnus takes the win, makes a face. He's very happy with that one.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. That could be in a book. That straight up could have been in a book. I know it's a 3+1 game on a Sunday night in London, but like still, that was excellent. And Alireza also had a couple of just fantastic games today.
Yeah, that could have easily belonged in Nimzovic's My System. You have a positional concept, you see it through to the end. Very smooth, very one-sided. Alireza won't be too proud. I think he needs open positions, Alireza. Those closed center positions, Magnus has been happily maneuvering around, and we're back to the C3 Sicilian. I would like to take some credit for this. I do play the C3 Sicilian a lot. Magnus used to tease me about it, but he started playing it in recent years as he likes to go for the safer variations here, happily trading off the knights, the bishops, the queens. Levy, does he want to just kind of maintain his 2-point lead now into the 1+1 section?
I don't know. You just talked about this opening, and you golf with the guy. Like, is he playing to win an endgame, or is he just playing to play something low risk?
I mean, he did this in the World Cup 2023. That was the first time he really started embracing the C3 Sicilian, but that was against Pragnananda. He only needed a draw with white. That was enough. Alireza doesn't like playing these endgames as we spoke about generally, but here he's totally fine. Black has everything covered. E6 next. Evict the knight, a6. Just looks like a level endgame.
Yeah, and we've got some stats there on the screen, and I'm not going to read them because all they do is confirm that he is very good at chess. Shocking. A shocking development for the audience that we have not yet come to this conclusion. Yeah, the Alapin is super annoying because when you play the Sicilian with black, it is quite literally the most combative option. And white just does this garbage to you, and now you have to spend like 6-7 minutes playing this position, and then what? It's totally symmetrical.
Yep. And it's just a draw. Alireza will be frustrated. Maybe it's just best to get all the pieces off the board, quickly get that draw done. Don't take the pawn on h2, unless your name is Bobby Fischer. Pawn to g3 would trap that piece. King to d7. Levy, do you think Magnus is going to be cynical, eat 5-6 minutes off the clock, or is he just going to happily repeat here?
I don't know. Obviously, the smart thing to do is to just play as long of a game as possible, but we will see. If you want to just play a whole nother game, you're totally able to. obviously the smart thing to do is to burn as much time as possible. But then if you lose, your opponent has a really good interview moment against you. So
that's true. And Alireza stayed calm. I was so impressed against Hikaru when Hikaru was doing it a few times. He stayed calm and waited for his chances. This is the most drawn position you'll ever see. Maybe black gets the moral victory of having the king slightly further in the center, but no breakthrough. And they start to repeat. They're out of there, onto the next game.
yeah, credit to Magnus. He would prefer to play one more game. Okay, Firouzja goes back to the same setup, and I am very curious to see what he has in store. Obviously, that didn't go very well. Can you play f3 here, or is that ridiculous?
It's definitely not ridiculous. The question is whether you wait f3. Maybe black will play d5 immediately to stop white expanding in the center. Earlier, Magnus was playing with d6, so maybe it was worth waiting a move and then pushing forward with f3, e4.
f3 is the engine setup here, if I'm not mistaken. Computers really like to play e3, bishop d3, queen c2, and like just play that absurd structure, which for humans we've never played like this, but now we do, because black just doesn't have any moves in the center of the board with the pieces.
Yeah, and black's bishop is somewhat blunted. Not too happy, at least on this diagonal, just staring across a wall of pawns here. Magnus makes a face and then develops his knight. Very Nimzovician there. As now he's trying to force that pawn structure you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe he could go for e5. Wow, knight b3 just seems like a crazy move. Usually you would put the knight behind the b pawn.
Yeah, and wow, Magnus creates an instant threat. He wants to come out with his queen. Quite elementary stuff. That would have been awkward, but now the white bishop is ready to throw itself in the way and block. There we go, steps back. This is going to be a really double-edged positional battle.
I have to tell you, if there was ever a game that we should have on the big screen, it really is this one. The venue is beautiful, the audience is amazing, the LED screens probably cost a lot of money, but I will really just say, having this on a big screen to analyze would be really great. This is potentially the weirdest game that we've had so far, because they have played a lot of Queens Indians, they've played Nimso Indians, Queen's Gambit declines. It's been a D4 masterclass. They've probably pushed opening theory forward by like 2 years just in this match. But this position is super, super strange and interesting to dive into. White will just develop some pieces. Black is trying to provoke, some attack in some form, but white doesn't have to do any of that. And at some point after white castles, he's just going to launch a pawn attack. It's not even clear where Magnus is going to castle here, David.
Wow, and I think with this last move, he says queenside. He pushes forward. He really wants that g-file open, just like he did in the previous game, but it looks superficial. The question mark appears. Levy, this can't be right. He's taking so many liberties.
We'd certainly be saying if Alireza had played g5, oh, he's tilted. Oh, he's spinning out of control. But Magnus plays g5. Oh, wow. Oh, let's all pay attention to that pawn push. No, this looks crazy. I mean, it looks like you are loading up the bazooka on b7 and just like the cavalry and the pawns. And Firouzja never castled that way. Like you're storming the castle that has been abandoned 100 years ago, and there we go. And now what? Now what's the idea?
Exactly. He's just going to try and survive now, Magnus. He's going to try and mimic White's setup here by castling queenside, but great move from Alireza, changing the pace, going forward, trying to blow it open before Black's king has committed. And en passant.
Ah, that's obvious. That's obvious to any fan, and he's done it.
There we go. A cheer for en passant today by the Frenchman. Of course it was going to be en passant.
Magnus giving a curious scowl to this audience with a mustache is like all I've ever asked for in my life. Like he just looks like an Australian, looks like at a kangaroo holding a dog. You've seen that clip, like in the water? Just epic. This is great. Please continue this. I hope Alireza figures out a way to crash through on the king side here. I love this match. This is the highest level chess we've seen. I mean, this is just I'm having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, he's making your thumbnails easy for you there, Levy, those mustaches.
He's just showed up to the tournament, so the thumbnail was easy, really.
Okay, to take or not to take. Bishop takes h4 is the move I think most of us would play on autopilot, but it does part with the bishop pair. Potentially this dark square bishop could be a killer of the black king if it can somehow find some active diagonals unchallenged. So he's hesitating. Maybe he wants to redeploy that bishop onto a different diagonal a bit later on. But how to break through, how to open up further lines against the black king.
Oh, he takes the bishop. That's a huge decision.
Ooh, that bishop wasn't really running away. But 2 bishops versus 2 knights. Of course, the bishops are the favorites if it opens up, but It's not that open yet, Levy.
Yeah, bishop e1 looked like a really nice move. Okay, now what? Bishop.
Ooh, g3. Doesn't care about pawns. He just wants open lines. I like it.
That's absolutely genius. Like, and now he's going to rotate that rook to g1. He gives Magnus a pawn.
Oh, and he's coming round. Beautiful. He spotted the key diagonal. Magnus looks quite impressed. This is Alpha Zero-esque. The way he's just moving his bishops around, doesn't care about material, knowing that long term he's going to get attacks on that black king.
Alireza winning this game, I'm hoping he does, because this is otherworldly. Maybe king a2, just like a simple move. Simple move getting off the back rank, and then you improve next.
Exactly. Slow play it, stay calm. Magnus is trying to annoy him by keeping an eye on this pawn, making it difficult to kind of move the bishop in the way. Oh, great spot, Levy. King a2.
Now bishop c3 is with tempo. Yes. Yes, this is excellent.
And he's threatening bishop d4. Magnus has missed this. King forward, bishop d4. He would force an exchange sacrifice.
He's going to take it. That's what he wants. But maybe rook d1 here. Like, maybe you don't have to part ways. Or maybe even e4. Okay, fine. I get it. But that wasn't the best, I don't think.
No, maybe selling his advantage slightly short. There's no great infiltration squares for the white rooks yet. And the black knights are going to be super strong in the endgame. It's not one-sided traffic right now. b4, almost trapped the queen.
Rook h7 maybe. Oh, that's nasty. And he's pinned.
Wow, the king has to move. Oh, the knight goes back. This is hanging by a thread. White's attack looks so scary.
Queen f4 looked way stronger, I feel like.
Different angle could have come in. Counterplay. Oh, the advantage is gone. White's gone passive. The knight can come back. Magnus wants the queens off. Of course he does. He always does.
But now queen f4. Yeah.
Keep him on. Magnus missed that one.
Queen g3, queen d4, and the attack is renewed.
Oh, and to check. He can pick up some pawns at the least.
Yes, the position is collapsing for black here. You have f4 ideas here.
Oh, he's just going to try and push Magnus. Check. The rook can come in the near future.
I don't like this. No draw here from Alireza. Come on. Rook d8 maybe. Some
he's
sacrifice.
repeating.
Wow.
Wow. Alireza had a big advantage, but repeats. Yes, he was low on time, but Magnus has got to be thinking that that is a sign of weakness from Alireza. No belief.
Yeah, for sure. That was such a strange decision. I guess the risk was the h-pawn maybe. Like in the long run, he felt himself losing control of the position. He felt like he couldn't move. He was mated. Oh, man.
That is odd. He could have repeated a bit later, surely. There was no rush. We're back to the c3 Sicilian. One of the trendier versions. This is a different move order. Normally, the bishop comes out to c4 in this opening, hits the knight in the center. A check has become trendy with some cute tricks here. And we'll see some exchanges in the center, likely from Magnus. He's not playing this for a draw necessarily, but he's playing it to frustrate Firouzja. There's no easy way for black to get a full-blooded fight in this opening. This is fascinating match strategy. He waited so long to play e4. Now he's hammering away against the Sicilian.
Yeah, now we get a big trade. Now, in the long run, isn't white better?
Maybe slightly with the outside pawn majority.
Yes,
3.
Yes, the 3-on-2.
c4 threatened. But black is rock solid for now. It's going to be difficult to look that far into the future. Bishop c5 is not possible right now, as a pawn would drop, although slightly tempting. Oh, he does go for it, Alireza, and then he's going to castle queenside, question mark, but this is a gamble, calculated risk here.
This is amazing, and Magnus knows he either takes the pawn and buckles up. He might, because he might feel like the last game, he got slightly away. He's like, yeah, all right, let's provoke. No, he just goes to the center, but now black is very happy.
Completed development. For everyone at home, queen takes pawn was possible, but black would have got an open file staring down at the white king. That was scary, scary stuff. So Magnus instead is retreating, but now black is more than fine.
Yes, the position is very comfortable now. Knight takes c3 looked cool, but it didn't work. Because the queen would have taken the queen with the check, and at the end, white would be winning. Just don't worry. We're just yapping, as they say. Alireza is going to bring the second rook. He also has ideas to just sort of pawn avalanche, f5, e5, e4, etc.
Ooh, especially now. The white queen might be kicked to some awkward squares. f5 is another reason to play that move. h7 would otherwise be dropping if you bring your rook into the center. Yeah, Magnus is low on energy again. I think he's just waiting for this section to end. It feels like he's always bringing his best at the beginning of the segment now. Bishop e3. I think exchanging everything would be too compliant, would just guide it towards equality.
Yeah.
But there we go. That's what happens.
There it is. Maybe he's just getting old.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, I mean, that's just it, really. Like he cut the segment by about 15 minutes, you know, and he'll be just right. But this is going to be a rook endgame that again he can play forever and ever, and this time he will, because it's not just an easy draw.
Yeah, but it's consistent. It's part of a bigger match strategy. He's playing the c3 Sicilian for a reason. He wants to keep things under control, pragmatic. He wants to really annoy his younger rival. I'm expecting the king, there we go, to come into the center.
Now, the thing is, we're nearing the point that we're only guaranteed one more game. It's very important. The next game with white, Alireza will... Honestly, I have seen Magnus win so many positions with this outside pawn. I don't think it's going to happen here. And his other structure is split, isolated e-pawn, G and H. But just like Hikaru wins positions that he has no business winning, I've seen Magnus win rook in games that I'm like, how the... whatever, I can't even... So then now he's going to play for some b4 or some rook a2 stuff.
Yeah, this is not easy to immediately force towards a draw for Alireza. I mean, the inverse is true. Like, Alireza, one of his weaknesses has been known to be rook endgames historically. In the candidates, he's lost several kind of quieter-looking endgames. Yeah, it's not his forte. Magnus is certainly playing against the opponent, playing for this format as well. There we go, takes the open file.
For endgames at this level, first of all, you need a huge amount of pattern recognition inside your memory bank and famous games, famous training games probably, but you also do need intuition. The same intuition Alireza carries in his fiery games, Magnus carries in endgames, and just the truth is at this level, endgames are far more likely than crazy fire on the board, and that's why he's the best.
Exactly. Pawn to e4, he's saying, okay, I'm covering all the squares. Where are you going with your rook? Nowhere. Are you ever pushing any of these pawns? You might create some weaknesses. Maybe we'll see a minority attack of the white pawn stepping forward in the near future. Magnus loves pushing, especially the h-pawn. Ultimately should be a draw levy, but he's eating time off the clock already.
This is one of those games that just like is a dagger. You know, like at the end of a basketball game, a shot goes in and that's it. An endgame grind, first time in the match, right? A pure endgame grind, like just like this, to get all the match time off the clock almost. 3-game lead, that is not what Alireza wants. It's a king and pawn endgame, David, but these are so tricky. It's not just 5-on-5 as a draw. There's so many subtleties.
Exactly, and probably it's easier to play white here. You have the potential to deflect, distract your opponent. Magnus now, blue arrow appears. e5 is a winning move. I think it just clears the path for the white king, and he misses it. That was not easy. Calculation was needed. But e5's there again, Levy, and it's getting more obvious now with the black king sidelined, away from the center. King f4 equally good. e5's coming. White's going to break through with an outside passed pawn.
Yeah, what did... I guess Alireza just saw e5, king d5 here, which is totally reasonable. It just looks like you're not breaking through. But all of a sudden, white is going to force an outside passed pawn.
Wow, this could be a gut-wrenching defeat for Alireza. It's going to be the two split pawns, the... What were you calling it? The crab yesterday with the G pawn, the H pawn, and then the B pawn deflecting the black king, but no, Alireza blocks it up. Magnus closes the gate, and the white king is coming. The race begins. Magnus making a face, smiling to the audience there. He knows he's winning. He's counted it out.
Magnus signaling for the crowd to applaud him 20 moves before the conclusion of the game because he's counted it out. 5-on-5. 5-on-5, king and pawns. And he gets it done. I called it. I called it like 2 minutes ago. It's crazy.
Wow, e5, what a move indeed. Magnus smiles, moves further ahead in this match. Alireza now really cannot afford to lose this final game of the 3+1.
No, he has to get this game back if we want the match to be close. A 4-game lead is just too much to overcome in Bullet. He's definitely frustrated with himself. I said that a win like that can take it really out of your sails. Like it sucks.
It's heartbreaking in a way. You can see it on the camera. Alireza's super annoyed at himself. That was the most level looking of endgames, but somehow he crashed and burned quite quickly in that king and pawn endgame, underestimating the dangers. And this is actually a variation we saw yesterday between Alireza and Hikaru. Hikaru went back with his bishop instead, and back to e7. He might be forced to do that anyway, Magnus Carlsen. Very trendy line.
In fact, I think Carlsen Caruana, 2018. Yeah, World Championship match, except the queen went to a5 in that match. I'm sure they have studied it, and I wouldn't be shocked if Magnus remembers all of that from 8 years ago, and plus all the updates.
Yeah, he'll tell you what page of his notes it features in. Queen to a5 now is the way to take advantage of the fact that white's king hasn't castled yet. Knight to e4 jumps, often extremely annoying. Normally they bring a knight back to d2 or put something on d2 just to break the pin. Bishop to e2 instead, and we'll see some mass liquidations if Magnus does want to jump in.
Now, Alireza has been prone to tilt. It definitely happens, like in the candidates, not just once, but 2 times, and obviously in the match last year. Think about this. The scoreline last year was 23-7.
He's already got that.
23-7. How is that even possible, right? It clearly shows a lot of fast losses in bullet. That's really what happened. But, I mean, this is a totally different story. One more win, he's back in the match. And he very well could be a slight favorite in the bullet. Pretty sure Magnus has lost the bullet segment already in this championship. So anything can happen. Alireza just can't spin out of control here.
Exactly. He's beaten Magnus in a bullet match online before, so he will believe. But 3 points or 4 points is going to be a huge handicap at the beginning of that segment. Here, threat, knight takes knight, would shatter the white pawn structure. So the question is whether you can do anything about that, or whether you have to play a sad tempo-losing move like rook to c1, back in the direction it came from, just to defend that knight. But Magnus is totally fine. He's equalized and up on the clock. Castles and Levy, that's a risk being taken now. He's even giving up a pawn.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, he wanted knight to g5, threatening a checkmate-sing attack along the diagonal. Cut out.
Now he has to take, yep. Maybe he's going to push a c-pawn next.
Yep.
I'm not really sure what else you could do. Your a-pawn's hanging.
Yeah, knight to c3 looks a bit awkward, though, if the white pawn does push. Why would you take this position? Risk of just being clearly worse. Risk going 4 points down. Oh, yes. I don't like it. I think the tilt is kicking in.
It's very tough to understand. And he could have stabilized, but it's very difficult to tilt in the previous game and then, okay, I'm going to hold it together, we're going to draw this game, and then we're going to go to the bullet. You kind of want to win, but in trying to win and take back the point, you do some crazy stuff to your position. Like I'm already looking at e5. Yeah, e5, bishop f5.
e4 coming, bishop f5, nasty, nasty pin, c4 forced. The black knight is going to retreat.
Oh, that could be just in time by Alireza. This is tricky now.
Yeah, killing the black threats in one move, but the black bishop is still about to come out, start targeting some weak pawns. h3 is slow. b6 first.
Yeah, and he's going to go for c5, and if he gets c5, it's actually not all bad. And c6.
Black's going to try and cut across that. There we go.
Rook b5 is with tempo, and rook c3 basically completely locks in the move c5. You would maybe even have to play queen c5, which just looks, honestly, maybe not even that bad.
Yeah, queens don't feel comfortable being blockaders. Maybe the black knight can also come round. I would expect knight to d7. There we go. As you say, queen c5 just looked kind of superficial. The knight looks super strong there.
It's a race. Bishop f5, knight f6 check. Alireza forever the tactician. If he gets rid of that knight on c5, he will push the c-pawn there.
Okay, but Magnus says it will be on his terms. The queen will replace the knight. Alireza wants everything off now. He's fighting for equality.
Everything he does is dynamic. Bishop g4 is a crazy move.
Asking for f5, but there would have been some exchanges there, and white's queen would have been staring at f5 as well as the bishop. Now at least the pawn on g4 is surprisingly strong. It helps clamp down on the king side. Black cannot really push further forward. He'd love to somehow get his knight back and into d5, but there's no way to get this white rook out of that square. There we go.
Alireza was deciding whether to go for this or not. If he does go for this, winning chances are quite low. Although if the colors were flipped, we wouldn't be saying that. We'd be saying, oh, he's looking for some endgame.
And it is official. This will be the final game of the 3+1. We're headed to bullet next. Can Alireza limit the damage before that, or even get a win back? Queen to b3. He threatens a check. Therefore, the black king moves off the diagonal. And okay, that is almost tantamount to a draw offer, it feels like. Magnus didn't want the queens off. It feels like he's laughing at what I said earlier. Rook c5, and maybe he feels that with the queens on, he can start pushing.
But if he wins this, it's going to be unreal. Alireza has to fight back here. 17 seconds. It really feels like the control of the match is slipping away. Queen c2, a nice defensive move. What?
What? Queen takes e4. Magnus has blundered a pawn. Game on.
But he's just got b5.
Rook a1.
Oh, rook a1.
Magnus has blundered.
And it's over. Rook a8.
It's over immediately. Rook a8. You can pre-move it almost. It is winning. Magnus blundering a back rank trick. Alireza is going to close the gap back to 2.
Unreal.
Nothing to do.
This is crazy, and you see it on his face. It's a one-move mistake in an otherwise totally innocuous position.
Oh, and he's going to go into a horrible endgame now.
Queen f5, and I guess just rook a5.
Oh, rook a5. Clincher.
Yeah.
Pin. And win. Yeah, the e-pawn as well is going to crown the victory here. You can push your pawn to b7, then push your e-pawn. Black can't stop both. There we go.
Magnus just coming to terms with it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just looking back in the game.
The Black King, if it ever moves, we'd see a check and it's game over. Magnus resigns.
And Alireza Firouzja, against all odds, 3 games down with it seemingly slipping away, a one-move mistake, and he is back in the match, a 2-game deficit as the 3+1 portion finishes all square, 4.5, 4.5, 10-8 overall. We've got 30 minutes to crown a speed chess champion. Let's go to John, who's with Magnus Carlsen.
Thank you very much, folks. Magnus, obviously, close score, but you have an advantage going into 1+1. Sum up your feelings about the match so far.
No, I mean, I feel like I picked up the level quite a bit after the break in the 3+1, and I mean, the last game was just an absolute gift. I blundered a pawn, and then yeah, the game on the next move. So it was a bit unfortunate, but still got a good chance.
How do you feel about the arena? You had a gesture to the crowd earlier. Do we feel like we need to raise the volume a little bit in here?
No, I think they just you know, sometimes cheer for my moves, not only his.
London, what do you think about that? Can we have a cheer for Magnus? I don't know if you guys can hear that from up there, but I literally cannot hear myself talking when they do that. Folks, you are absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and head it back to you guys before we begin the 1-1.
Having a great time. I think they want both players to win. Unfortunately, they can't, but that was pretty funny. Magnus looking for the crowd to cheer him on. But okay, what just happened there at the end? We have a match. I had stats ready to throw at us that in Paris, the 3-1 segment was 8-2 for Magnus, and I was going to say, hey, Alireza's down 3, maybe 4, but this is better than Paris, and instead, he's only down 2 games, and he is considered usually by both Magnus and Hikaru to be the better bullet player. We are going to have liftoff here in the final segment, Aman.
Yeah, we're going into bullet where Alireza obviously can make that comeback happen. I think that last game is so important. It's the confidence going into the bullet. Obviously, scoreline-wise, that could have been the opposite, right? One game, when you think about margins, is actually 2, right? Take a point away from someone else, you give it to someone else, that's a big difference. So I think that's going to be a big deal going into the bullet, and bullet is very streaky and something you play much better when you're feeling confident. So Magnus might be tempting fate, handing that confidence over to a player as good as Alireza.
Yeah, it's fair. And Alireza, one of the things he's been called has been streaky at times, right? He's a player who puts pressure. As Magnus said earlier, he likes to raise the complexity of the position, and that type of style can work in your favor and against it. But if he gets on a roll and bullet, that's how streaks happen.
That's exactly how streaks happen. And I just want to point out some of our viewers are great at the analysis. They said mustache plus gum equals God mode. So maybe that's what Alireza needs to discover, that he also has neurogums in the room.
The gum gave him energy. The gum gave him energy, legit. But no, so Magnus obviously overall, though, I think seems to be having a great time, right? Even in that interview there, I think Magnus having fun is one of the worst Magnuses to play against. Because when he's enjoying himself, he's very difficult to beat. He plays good chess moves very fast. But what is Alireza thinking now? He's got to be feeling a little bit better, gets into this fastest time control where he knows he should be the favorite still with a fighting chance. So Any openings, any thoughts you would do there knowing you really have put yourself in contention here?
I think the 1+1, contrary maybe to the 5+1, where I would say maybe it is more opening centric. You are picking and prodding in the beginning of the game. I think 1+1 is the opposite. The openings don't matter as much anymore. At this level, you're looking for what you do best with in Bullet. You want to have a position that you know the plans. You want to know what to do conceptually, not memorizing a bunch of theory and reciting stuff. That's not how either of these players play. That makes me excited to watch the Bullet because both players are going to be looking for positions that are easy to play, they know what to do, and they're not worried about what opening am I going to play. Both of these players are capable of playing a bad opening and winning the Bullet game.
Absolutely. And Bullet is such an intuitive time control. It's the most intuitive one. So that's what we're going to see. I agree with you, Aman. Openings don't matter. I hope to see some of the crazier openings. And will anyone play the cow opening, by the way? Shout out to Anna Kremling sitting right here. Who will play
Random
the cow opening
shout
today?
out. Never be taking it easy in the front row. All right, no, but if this match is as close, or anything close like it was last night with Hikaru Nakamura and Alireza Firouzja, this place is going to get loud. It's going to be bumping. We're all going to need to chill afterwards. Here we go. It's the final segment of the SCC finals. We're going to crown a champion in just a little bit. We're going to be
Can I please?
You will.
We have such an amazing audience.
We do.
Can I please hear for Team Magnus and for Team Alireza, your loudest ever scream? Who is here for Mr. Magnus Carlsen? Are you Team Magnus? Hey, that's pretty good. What about Team Alireza?
I see what you're doing, Danny.
Alireza, Firouzja. Anyone?
maybe an underdog crowd then. All right. We're going to throw to a break. When we are right back,
50-50.
it'll be the final portion. We will know who is the 2025 Speed Chess champion. It's Bullet. When we return, it's Magnus versus Alireza. We'll be right back from London.
What's up, everybody? I'm here on behalf of one of our newest partners, Neuro. You may have known them before as Neuro Gum, but they make more than just gum now, even though this is the stuff that I actually personally really love and have been using for a hot minute. Natural caffeine, B vitamins, theanine, stuff that is good for you when you're looking to avoid that second cup of coffee. Now they also have Neuro Mints for calm and clarity. Also only natural ingredients. They use GABA, vitamin D, all kinds of good stuff that you like putting in your body if you're looking for natural ways to bring up your energy and maybe calm down and get that clarity you need toward the end of the day. There's sleep and recharge. There's all kinds of small mint packets. But like I said, I really do love the Energy and Focus Gum. I use it in the afternoon. Pop one. Sometimes I really need that extra energy. Either way, hope you give them a chance. Use the command Neuro if you happen to be watching this during one of our shows. Otherwise, go to neurogum.com. Check them out today on behalf of Chess, and we'll see you around on chess.com.
Okay, so Magnus, as I'm sure you're aware, prediction markets are now open about pretty much everything. Are you aware that there's a prediction market for the Speed Chess Championship Finals?
I'm not aware of what the prediction market says, but I would have guessed that there's one, yeah.
Well, I'm going to read you the live predictions, and I'm going to pretend to give you 100 Great British Pounds, and I'd like you to tell me if it's the smart money to bet for or against the person. Right now, Magnus, in order for someone to bet for you to win, they have to bet 74 pounds to win 100 pounds, or if they bet on you not winning the tournament, which is second, third, or fourth place, the no is 27 pounds to win 100 pounds. So what's the smart money when it comes to you?
I think the market is pretty correct. So I would say either bet is quite reasonable.
All right, next one is Hikaru Nakamura. Yes to win the tournament, 16 pounds to win 100, or the no is 85 pounds to win 100.
I'd bet the under.
Okay, we'll have to figure out what the under is. All right, the next one is Alireza Firouzja, last year's finalist against you. The yes is 10 pounds to win 100, 10 to 1 odds. And the no is 91 pounds to win 100. What's the smart money when it comes to Alireza?
I think Alireza is not an underdog against Hikaru, but it's probably, judging by the matches that have been so far, he's been more of an underdog against me than Hikaru in these matches. So it's hard to say, but I would say that betting on him is the bet I like the most of the ones you presented so far.
And I don't like to ask you to guess in the future, but if there was a final between you and Nakamura, do you think the markets would favor Nakamura more than Alireza if it was against you?
Yeah.
Okay, and last one, Denis Lazovic. To win 100 pounds, you only have to bet $3, 3 pounds for him to win the tournament, and the no is 97. What's the smart money for Denis?
The market thinks that these matches are quite long and usually the better player will prevail, but he's really, really good, and if you want to take a long shot, I wouldn't mind that.
Folks, it's the 2025-2026 Speed Chess Championship Finals, and we are entering the third and final stage. It's London. It's Alireza Firouzja. Magnus Carlsen is coming. 10-8 is the score, and we have 30 minutes of 1+1 to figure out, will Magnus Carlsen win yet another Speed Chess Championship trophy, or will Alireza Firouzja be the first person, not named Magnus or Hikaru, to win this entire competition? Last year the match was a blowout, and this year we couldn't have asked for something more hype. Magnus approaching the podium there. David, how are we feeling as the players take their seats?
I am just as pumped as our audience. I hope you can hear us. I hope you're excited. The best thing that could have happened for this match was actually that turnaround, that blunder from Magnus, because now it's so close. Alireza, never write him off. He is super speedy, super instinctive. If he can get in the flow, not overthink, he has all the chances in the world to fight back and make this a close match. Magnus, of course, the favorite, 2-point lead, but game on. We're about to get going.
Yeah, this is, I'm like jittery. Can we just add a 0? They have to play for 300 minutes just for our entertainment. We haven't had this in a year. They played 10-minute chess, a Caro-Kann defense to kick things off. Now David and I are even more hype. We are the two leading practitioners of the commentary team on this opening. Dare I say, no, I do not say that. Now we're gonna have a positional struggle, David. We're not gonna have some crazy advanced Caro-Kann. What line will Magnus choose here against Alireza?
Yeah, he's chosen the exchange variation and not the most ambitious one. The white knights are passively placed. Magnus does like this pawn structure, though, from both colors. The Carlsbad here with white pawns in one direction, black pawns in another. Hit now on the black bishop, which doesn't move. It's defended.
Wow, this
is on the B file.
This is really interesting, because normally the light squared bishop would go back. Like, why is he letting him take it? But the point is that the white knight likes to control E5. Finally, Alireza makes this move, but Magnus doesn't have the right configuration, David. The knight on G3 is never here in this opening.
Yeah, this knight really misplaced. Can't jump forward. Black's knight, in the meantime, quite good. And sooner or later, the black pawns will try to create a minority attack. White knight now dropping back, stops it. I think this is a great little success for Magnus. It's a very closed position, Levy. Is this match strategy? Is this Magnus's just preference for a pawn structure, or is he playing the match clock already?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Alireza is going to go f6, king f7 and try to prepare some sort of e5 thing. And Alireza might try to, or just right away, let's go. He's just attacking the center of the board. B3 is so complicated.
Whoa, he punches through with e5. That's met with a hit on the knight. One idea is to take. We've already seen so many times, queen for double rook sacrifice. And ultimately, he doesn't go for it, Alireza, not going for the big imbalance, taking a pawn, but his knight is sidelined. He lost a key central pawn in the process.
Queen c7 hitting the hanging pawn on c3, which Magnus doesn't even defend. The knight on g3 was ridiculous, and now it's counterattacking in the center of the board. Also, Alireza's knight in the corner there on the left side could get trapped. It's a very stressful position, and he only has 18 seconds on the clock.
Oh, Alireza too slow. He could have also taken a pawn, taken another pawn with his queen. He didn't want to risk getting her trapped. But now it's going to be white taking over. This pawn is hard to defend. Tactics galore. Watch out. Winning advantage now for white. Apparently, all the checks in the air. The black queen almost undefended, and all white needs is a rook on the 7th. He wins material.
Rook e7 is picking up at least a queen and maybe more, because that knight on a3 never escaped. Alireza, that was a disaster of a first game, and Magnus Carlsen takes a 3-point lead once again.
He's chewing on the gum. It's his secret recipe, the neuro gum here. Every time, the start of a segment, he seems to be chewing away, seems to be winning. And there we go. The knight back to the Bogo Indian, which has been a mixed opening here for Alireza. Some success, some dodgier positions. But he just needs to win quick now, Levy. He needs to get a position that he likes, open with attacking chances.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he keeps going for these relatively symmetrical, let's say, piece placements. Like now he has the knight and the bishop versus the knight and the bishop. This is going to be a long game. This is not easy at all. It feels like he has to do something a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah, I'm shocked he didn't play b4 when he got given the opportunity. Now he's never playing b4. En passant will be legal and advisable there. And okay, Magnus is just going to sit. He doesn't need to do anything.
Alireza has to decide, is this game just a wash? Does he play rook d2 and just call it? How is he going to generate something here? Knight a2 is not, it's not something that's very pretty, because the knight on b4 does the exact same thing it does on c3. And I don't think he's going to take the bishop, is he?
No, surely not. White's bishop is terrible. Black's knight is beautiful. It would be a case of good knight versus bad bishop. I agree. He won't take it. He could maybe get the knights off, but I'm not sure even that is desirable. Queen back in the center. Magnus is going for the white king meanwhile. Oh, dark squared weaknesses. Oh, this is just really ugly now for Alireza Firouzja. The knight's coming.
No, this has all gone wrong. He can't get anything dynamic. 2 games, about 4 minutes of game clock. Match clock, I apologize, and he hasn't figured out a way to make the position tricky at all.
It's going to be an endgame grind. Here we go. Magnus is likely to, at some point, break open the center. G5 first. Full dark squared blockade. Alireza can never push a pawn for the rest of this game. He just has to sit, maneuver around, and wait. And it's actually Magnus who breaks through.
Now, Magnus could find a way to overextend here. If knight gets the d4, now you would consider taking on c6, or knight b5. Wow, he brings the king. At some point, Magnus will have to decide, is he playing to put the foot on the neck here, get a 4-game lead, or is he just going to simplify things and go for the draw?
Okay, still maneuvering around. The white knight finds a slightly better square, still no threats. What's he doing? The white bishop is just never participating in this game.
Well, it's trying to get taken. At least it's maybe going to go to e4 here.
Maybe the black rook slides across. There we go. Keeps the white bishop honest, keeping this pawn under watchful gaze there, and the bishop just drops back.
I don't think Magnus is going to repeat here. Okay, I would be shocked, but Firouzja's the one not repeating. Oh, it's almost a...
Almost.
Oh,
the rook has to go back. The king will go back. Magnus is happy with a draw. Firouzja, he should be getting out of this game now. What else is there to do? There we go. It's a draw.
There it is.
We move on.
This is not good. 5 minutes are off the countdown, and 1 point has already been granted to Magnus. So it is a 1.5 half-point segment here. And another Caro-Kann, and Magnus changes it up, plays the Breyer variation, also looking for an endgame.
Yeah, black could have taken a pawn in the center, got the queens off early, but that would play into Magnus Carlsen's strengths. Queenless middle games there. Very dry, slower game. Instead, he keeps the tension here, Alireza Firouzja, trying to provoke Magnus into some early g4s. That has been refused, and we get a slower maneuvering setup, but black's yet to castle. What do we make of this, Levy?
This is a super annoying line when you play with the black side, because on the one hand, it's equal. On the other hand, there are so many pieces on the board. You don't get any clarity. By the time anything happens here, there will be 22 on the match clock, and then 21. And Alireza still has to take some risks. That's the truth. He has to get into some positions. They say in the Chess World Cup, you have to get a losing position to get a winning position. If Magnus doesn't want to lose, he's not going to. You're going to have to take some serious risks. D4, E5 is coming. Like, what do you do here with black?
He takes the bishop just in time to to remove his knight now from the center. Only move, I think. And here we go. Looks beautiful for white somehow. Push the pawn, push all the pawns, but blocked temporarily. Okay, maybe it's just totally fine for black, but no more than that as the queen drops back. F4 Levy. He can create some nasty stuff on the f-file if that pawn is taken.
That looks absolutely crazy. Can he sense the moment here? He doesn't.
Ooh. Castles. At least black is safe for now. But
yes.
Still, how to ever win this position?
That's the problem. It has been 3 games of try your best to beat me. You just can't. And I do feel like if this was a random 1 a.m. session playing 1+0, Alireza would have created just something. A little bit something. But Magnus has been so good at playing no-lose type of chess.
Anti-young player chess, he calls it. Slightly tongue-in-cheek, of course, but he just wants to remove all the action, remove the pawn breaks, remove the energy from the opponent's position, grind it down, and there we go. He finally tries to break out Alireza. Cost him some time on the clock. Both sides now down around the 15, 16 second mark. Black has an isolated pawn, but a beautiful knight.
Yeah, b5 is a nice idea. You have to activate the rook. But Magnus is very solid here. Alireza is going to have to rely on some sort of blunder if Magnus gets under maybe 5 seconds.
Here we go, the knight is jumping, a pawn is loose, but that pawn can step forward. We see some exchanges. This looks like it's fizzling towards a draw, but it's a long draw that's going to eat another couple of minutes off the match clock.
Yeah, knight b3. Okay, we trade. And okay, you would agree to a draw here in any classical chess tournament, but not here.
Magnus has a big lead, but he'll happily ensure that the 1+1 segment goes on and on
G5,
in this game.
G5, okay. That doesn't do anything, just, you know, and the rook comes back. And there was a way to lose there, but Magnus didn't.
Yeah, as long as he gets his knight out, there we go. Not quite trapped, it's coming back towards the center. And yeah, this is just a dead, drawn position, barring a big blunder. Magnus, though, he's the one applying the pressure suddenly.
Oh my gosh, I was just about to say I have seen, and that is so tricky, rook g2. And I think he will go for it.
Ooh, there was a knight fork. If rook takes g2 was allowed, there would have been a knight check taking the white rook.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Alireza is a pawn down now. He's suffering.
Yeah, this is very, very bad news. I mean, if Magnus hangs a rook, that's literally the only way. Otherwise, he's going to grind down this endgame for another, I don't know, 70 moves?
He won a very similar endgame against Alireza at the Esports World Cup. There was 0 increment, so he was able to use the clock as a weapon. But this time, it's still dead drawn after that knight trade. But this is going to go on forever. Great intuition, as you say, from Magnus there. Our chat appreciating it, but, I mean, it's the practice, it's the experience. Levy, this must be torturous for Alireza.
Yeah, 3 points is just the cutoff at the 20-minute mark when you start. You don't feel totally panicked just yet. You still feel you have enough time, but he has gotten a whopping 0 winning chances in, I don't know, some 100+ moves. G6 is coming, but now you give checks, and now the game is going to end in a draw.
Probably some more checks. Then you hit the f-pawn.
Ooh.
Okay, this is a good, effective way as well. And
Rook F5.
Magnus has blundered.
Rook F5.
Magnus has blundered.
Rook F5. Oh my God, what's he done? What's he done? He's just losing this endgame. 2 pawns down, he would have been skewered there. And now Alireza has to gather his nerves and win this position.
This is a famous win as well, and Magnus blunders his rook. The rook.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That was 2 presents given to Alireza Firouzja. Just insane. And it is a 2-game match again.
Wow, Alireza has to use that as a springboard. He has to hope that's the moment this match turned. Magnus was totally fine. Pawn up, 2 blunders almost back to back. Levy, we would watch 100 matches like this. That would happen maybe once. That was the one time. Crazy.
I said, yeah, he would need to blunder with less than 5 seconds on the clock, but I didn't expect that. You expect to hang a knight fork, not lose a 2-on-1 rook endgame.
From a position of strength.
Yes.
Having the 2.
Hikaru lost the rook endgame yesterday up 2 pawns. Like, it just happens. Wow, this is... Look at Magnus's reaction there. He does not like this. He does not want to take that pawn, and he doesn't. But now maybe g4. Like, you gotta just go for it. Okay, yeah, thank you. Developing a piece obviously is a good move, but and now Alireza just he's got to play with energy somehow.
Yeah, black has not been taking this pawn because once the knight lands, it might just get trapped on that square. The white rook would advance, catch the knight, embarrassed. Magnus wants to block it up. The pawn structure, he loves this structure. He's outplayed Alireza from something similar before. The problem is g4 also, so there's a queen check that might be annoying.
Yeah, g4 and king f1 and maybe like knight e2. Maybe that's the solution. But Magnus is relying on c5, but maybe you take en passant there. It's super complicated, but there is a solution here for Alireza. He could get totally swarmed here. He has to go for g4.
Oh, I fear for him here, though. Somehow there might be knight sacrifices in the air, followed by f3 breaking through, and oh, a blunder from Alireza. There's a knight sacrifice. It's going to be called a brilliancy, surely. There we go. The f-pawn, f for forward, f for force. There we go.
It's not totally over just yet, but if Alireza Firouzja does not lose this game, it would be incredible.
Almost a miracle, on par with the last one. Black has won the material back with interest. The g4 pawn is dropping.
Rook g3, queen e4 has to be winning.
Has to be. Levy, there's a killer move here. I'm not going to say it yet. Will Magnus play it? It's a cool one. It's a brutal one. Blue arrow hasn't appeared, but apparently knight to e2, GG. Game over. He doesn't go for it. He finds something almost as strong.
That's what I said, but I'm staring at this, and maybe it's not as winning as we thought.
Yeah, it's level material. Exchange down, but Magnus making a face. Alireza's playing for a win
He's
here.
going for it. He's forcing Magnus to play some moves here with 3 seconds on the clock.
Oh, no time. Magnus shaking his head and half smiling, but he gets a check. He's going to win another pawn.
King f2, though.
Yeah, then a check.
Yes, king s. Yes, yes. Oh, Alireza's running across the board.
He's gambling. He's floating across the board with his king, but the rook has ridden to the rescue.
Oh, how is he going to survive this ever?
Oof. Oh, the pieces are swarming.
He might not.
Queen's off, and Magnus is going to slow play it again. 2 connected past pawns to win it.
And here comes the king. Here comes Alireza's king. King c6.
The race is on. Oh, the c7 pawn's dropping.
Yes, c7's falling, and then bishop f4 is coming.
Dominoes. They're collapsing.
What? What is he? He's winning all his pawns.
Oh, a6, a4 there was even stronger. What's happening next? Where's the next twist? Where's the next turn?
He's finally got the...
He's on his bishop!
Oh, no!
Blunder. Alireza losing his thunder. Crazy.
That was, yeah, and it's back to a 3-game lead with 16 minutes. We're right at the cutoff. Alireza has to win now with black, or it is probably mathematically over. He gets so close every single time. He might have been out of the danger there, but just succumbing at the end.
1 move away. Alireza actually was winning for just 1 move, but just no time. And panic, mouse slip. And here we go, another Caro-Kann levy. News for optimism? Reason for optimism here?
Yeah, queen d7, and then you play this line. You can probably play bishop d6 here. Yep, it looks like you're losing a pawn, but you are not. You are not, I promise. I think even you can, yeah, you can just like castle or something, but okay.
Yeah, this is very well known. Good pawn sacrifice for black if you just castle. But the question is, to take or not to take? Bishop b5. I've seen Alireza play this exact line before. There's some crazy tactics there with black just castling, then bringing the queen into f4. I've seen it all before, it's theory, and he knows it. Magnus might have been bluffed into a really scary line.
He's got a castle. Do it for the crowd.
Peace
Don't
sack.
play king. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, and Magnus castles queenside. What a cool move.
Wait, rook b5 just looks good, or like...
The rook is trapped. You have to flog it. You have to give it away anyway.
And he does it. The rook, there we go. But then what?
The rook's coming. The rook, the knight as well.
d4, what a move.
Wow, brilliant move. Second sacrifice back to back. The rook is coming. The rook is going to check the white king, then pin the white queen. Magnus shaking his head, smiling because he knows he's been hit by a series of incredible moves.
But knight e2 is not easy. And then, wow, he retreats. Alireza Firouzja is playing at 99.8 accuracy.
He needs to. He needs something special to defeat Magnus here and strike back. But it's a queen sack. Magnus, desperate, gives up his queen. He's got 2 rooks, but his king is open. Black has the pawns.
Alireza, if he pulls this off, is just the man. I got nothing to say. Knight is coming to you for Alireza. Please, for the love of God, play f6. Do not get back rank mated. But it is over. I mean, we are looking at a totally swarmed king. Okay, that wasn't what I asked for, but it's good enough.
Exactly, more than good enough. He's getting in now. He will be winning some pawns. Knight takes f2.
What? Pawn was just hanging.
Missed.
The nerves are getting to them.
Oh, he wants to come in behind.
93, 93. He wins. There it is.
Forktown. Magnus is going to play onto the bitter end.
Now he has to. Now every second counts. He knows it.
13 minutes to save the day, to become a hero. Alireza did it yesterday. He was 2 points down against Hikaru with just 4-5 minutes remaining.
He has yet to disturb the balance of Magnus. And Magnus is building a fortress here. This is going to be a long, long endgame.
Oof, he needs to just push pawns as quickly as possible without blundering a knight fork.
Well, good as king and queen are very far apart. just keep them just like that.
Exactly. Oh, tactics.
Tactics. Queen e2 check if you take that.
Yep.
This is over. A3 is coming.
That is not the right type of fortress for white. So passive, can barely move. The pawns are moving, marching, check. The queen is coming into d2 next. It's going to be over once the king moves.
And Magnus is, I mean, it would be cool if he stalled out. I mean, like, but he might just resign. He just resigns. And Alireza Firouzja, 2 points, 12.5 to 10.5. This has been such a close match.
Such a high-quality match as well. Players taking their chances there. Yes, there were some blunders earlier, but upping their game. Alireza clutched up, found the best moves when it mattered, and back to this opening. We've seen it a few times. Last time it was Magnus with the advantage, but yeah, game getting crazy. We see castling a bit calmer this time from Alireza, who retreats his knight back to square one, back home, but coming to a better square. White has the center and the bishop pair, long-term chances, but black has the development edge for now. Oh, he needs this one, Alireza.
This time he's castled, so he's not going to have any disasters with his king. I actually don't love this open. It's worked, obviously, so he keeps playing it. That's how it works. I don't love this for black, though. It's so dynamic. And if Alireza can figure this out, which is what he did yesterday against Hikaru, he would stubbornly go for these positions again and again where he thought he was better. Once he figures this out, he's going to have the initiative.
Definitely. And he happily opens it up. He's learned from past mistakes. He kept blocking the center against Magnus, kept getting punished, outmaneuvered in those slower positions. He wants it a bit more open. Queen in the center. He's going to line up his bishop on the long diagonal. Not yet. Knight check. Forced trap there if you don't defend your queen.
But Magnus really enjoying the structure. He keeps getting his pieces to all the right squares. And this passivity of the pawns for white, not looking very good. F4 now by black also.
Yeah, F4.
G4, I guess he has some G4, but maybe you can even like knight G3 stuff.
It's tempting, right? It's tempting, and it's colors reversed. It's something Alireza would do. Magnus is going for it now.
By the way, yeah, knight G3 doesn't work, but knight F6 back?
Yeah, knight F6 back, and maybe some sacrifices in the air. The bishop has been killed. The bishop on G2 is dead for the next few moves. Ugh, ugly piece.
Yeah, can Magnus figure this out? Alireza's just had a disaster with the white pieces.
He really has. He hasn't switched to E4, Alireza. Stubbornly hammering away at the queen's gambit declined.
Ooh, knight F5.
Ooh, clinging on in there. But knight F5 now would lose the E2 pawn.
H4 is coming in some positions.
Yeah, he's held on. He's surviving.
I wish Alireza can play queen G3.
With a pin on the F pawn. Okay.
Hey.
Blocking it up now, but what next? Long game.
Scramble territory. D5 from Magnus. That's a bold decision.
He didn't look too happy, Magnus, wincing as he made that move, but it does look logical. Knight fork now.
Met with a capture of a rook.
Ooh, level material again. White has the bishop pair, though. This is getting sharper.
Yeah, this is not good. Alireza's going to get E3.
E3 opens it up for the bishops. E4 even better, forcing en passant.
Wow, wow.
Oh, it does it.
There's H4 now. That's the move that we've been hoping for Alireza.
Oh, wow, finally. H4's coming, G5's coming.
He's lost the pawn. Bishop G...
He trades off.
Wow, this is so complicated. 1 second for Alireza.
He's got to move. He's pushing everything. He wants bishop E4, one-track mind. That's going to be blocked.
But he comes back.
Oh, no checks for the black rook. Only move was rook forward.
Rook D2, rook D2 or rook D1, yes.
Oh, the queen's coming though. Endgame, and he's blundered a pawn. That's a big pawn to lose.
Yes, this is now winning for Magnus.
Well, he trades off, but this is a dire endgame. Pawns are on the wrong color. White's bishop now pinned down to defending its own pawns.
Magnus won a game similar to this in Norway chess several years ago with the same amount of pawns, and now he's up one.
Oh, he's coming around to D5. He's going to clinch a winning king and pawn endgame at some point. He's calculating now. Could he take the bishops? He says no.
Doesn't have enough time to figure out if he can take the bishop.
He's going for it though, Magnus.
Yes.
He believes in the race. He is in time. We see that on the bar. Queen's on the board.
But probably just a winning endgame for black. And if not, it's going to take like 7 minutes to draw it. Oh, he hung his queen!
Game over. Magnus wins with a smile. Back to 3 points with 8 minutes left.
Yep.
Back against the wall. He just has to win every game quick.
Absolutely. This would be a generational comeback. Now, Alireza theoretically has time. If he wins 2 games in 8 minutes and 4 seconds or whatever it is, as long as that last game starts, he's fine. This is still acceptable, but he cannot lose.
No room for error now. This is still a well-known opening theory. White has the 2 bishops. Black now gaining the space in the center, but blocking it up. Magnus likes this pawn structure. Exclam given. The white queen might find herself in some trouble if the white knight steps back. The black knight coming forward. H5 now. He signals his intent here.
H5 is amazing. Very nice. It's actually a positional and a tactical move.
Pawn is coming.
You have G5 ideas with D3 as well, sometimes floating in the air. Or D3 first.
Magnus shaking his head. He's been outplayed in the opening. Will he want the queens off? Black's going to get a beautiful outpost in the center in return for the sacrifice pawn here.
This is very tough now. Yeah, he's going to try to move his B pawn. Alireza hammering away. The dark squares. The knight is going to arrive on F4.
Oh, dark square domination. This is ugly for Magnus. Look at that bishop. But he's going to hope for a long game.
Yeah, long game indeed. We might go down to about 4 minutes, but like we said, as long as Alireza gets the points on the scoreboard and the game starts, he's good. But David, positional advantage, he has to crash through at some point.
Yeah, what to do to open lines, take that pawn, given a question mark there. This is a great move. The king shifts, the rook gets an open file, access.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Do you take? Because now there's rook c3. Okay, or that.
Well, not rook c3, now he does. Oh, this is still going to take ages to break through white's defenses here.
No, this is very tough. You have to play like rook d8 maybe, but you do not want to play that move.
Get out of the way. You cannot allow white to straighten out his pawn structure. Do not take white's rook on his terms. He's really putting everything on dark squares. He's playing checkers. Given a question mark.
Or an X, but it's all the same at this point. The computer can find the best moves in half a second, but they are human. Their hearts are racing. 14 seconds for Magnus. He is holding on desperately to the defenses, and Alireza has to get a point on the board here.
He's doing the right thing. He's finding a way in for his knight. That knight completely controls the bishop. And there we go. Magnus sacrificed the pawn just to open up the diagonal as protection. But knight to c2 looks strong here.
Also thought rook c3, knight b3 maybe, or just that, and then knight, yeah. Oh, Alireza's dominating, but there's no clear breakthrough, and time is ticking.
He needs to win this and the next one. At this point, as long as he wins it in the next 3 minutes.
Knight c2.
Oh, knight c2.
Knight c2 is there, okay.
Can you trade the rooks? Is that a winning endgame if you put your knight back on a nice square, bring the king? He brings the king first. That is a fantastic move. He'll get access to the center soon. He'll put his last remaining pawn on a dark square. Good knight versus bad bishop.
Knight f3?
He doesn't want pawns.
What did I miss?
Nothing. That was a clear pawn. He wanted this pawn instead, the B pawn.
Alireza Firouzja is clearly winning. He just has to push his outside pawns.
Okay, can he get it done in a rook endgame? He's struggled in rook endgame so far today. Here we go.
There we go, a4.
Keep the king on this side, stop the rook going behind.
He is completely winning now. Rook check, push pawn, push the king. Magnus desperately sacrificing everything, but he's going to go down here. He's just losing, David.
Yep, it's going to be a 2-game match. Alireza will have to win the next one in lightning fast time. But this game goes on. Rook skewer. It's going to be game over. He wins the rook. Magnus fighting out to the bitter end. Queen on the board.
And this is important because Alireza won this game in about 4 minutes time, which means if it takes 4 minutes to beat Magnus in a game, every second counts. And that's why he's stalling. And that's why he's stalling out the clock. Don't boo Hikaru. You gotta boo everybody in that case.
Alireza takes the win. Magnus ate some time off the clock though. Must win territory. Alireza has 4 minutes to decide his fate.
It took Alireza more than 4 minutes to win the last game. Alireza has to win this game in 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
He has to pre-move everything now. He has to play super speedy. But is this pawn structure, again, white, black, he keeps landing here.
Yes, but at least it's better than what we've had. I feel like the weird Queen's Indian that we've had, I mean, it hasn't been working well. This is at least okay. A new structure here.
Ooh, I like this one. F5 in the air, breaking up Black's pawn chain on the king side. A knight maybe planting itself in the center. Dynamism. King happily finding safety here.
Not a mouse slip. Not a mouse slip.
Yeah, H3 would have been blundered if White had castled, so doing it manually here.
Oh, I love this. He's going to get F5. This is a very tough position for Black.
3 minutes, Levy. I don't know if there's enough time.
I don't know either. And remember, Magnus can play till mate, and he would literally run out the clock on the match. Alireza has to win without going below like 30 seconds. Magnus
himself has 37 seconds. So essentially, he has 2.5 minutes to spend of his own time max. Oh.
Yeah, he's thinking. He doesn't know what to do. Does he go back knight F3 here? Oh, that's terrible, though.
Knight F3 to defend the center.
Bishop B5 might be the only thing.
Queen C3 maybe to hold the pawn.
Firouzja has to move. 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock.
Wow, queen's off. Magnus is so consistent, so dogged and determined in his match strategy. Have to take the queens off, but now we're guaranteed a long game.
Oh, this is... And Alireza deliberately undoubles his pawns. He's going to the c-file. Magnus will try to stall him there and not let him make any progress.
Alireza making a face. He knows now it might not be enough.
G5 wins a piece.
G5, a threat. Kicking away the knight, which defends the bishop.
Magnus doesn't like it. 25 seconds for him.
Okay, nerves are jangling. Bishop D6. He would have taken this knight if given the opportunity after G5.
Alireza's got to go. 2 minutes on the clock. He has a big clock right next to him, and he knows that there's 2 minutes, so he's got to move.
I don't think he believes. I think he's got half an eye on that clock and knows this is going on forever. Black has the bishop pair now. Yes, a weakness, but he can cling on.
Yes, but Hikaru's won a whole hell of a lot worse versus everybody in the world from this position, and Magnus isn't happy. 12 seconds for Magnus.
Bishop A4, only move not to lose a pawn.
Maybe bishop B3, okay.
D5 is hanging in the center.
Bishop B8, I think, might be the only solution.
Yeah, then the rook comes to
C5. He's given up a pawn.
Magnus with tactics, but this is a blunder. Bishop takes F7 is apparently super strong. Blue arrow appears. He will be up a pawn in a dominant position, but 1 minute left.
It's on the board!
Magnus only has 4 seconds. He's blundered a fork.
And now knight D8 is winning a piece.
Knight takes D8. There's king E7 at the end. Tactics.
Oh my goodness.
Rook C7 apparently wins. Wins material, wins the game. G5 is a checkmate threat in a couple of moves.
Can Firouzja find it? No, he goes back. He goes back, but it's fine.
Bishop takes. He's going to be winning in a rook and pawn endgame. Knight G5 is a mistake, though, allowing a check.
Yes, he blunders a check. Magnus finds it.
Oh, that was it. That was the opportunity, surely. He needs some tricks left, but they don't exist anymore.
And that's it. Magnus is going to take on F4, and there are 40 seconds remaining on the clock, and that's it. It's over. It's over. And Magnus Carlsen, with some time remaining on the clock, in all likelihood, is your speed chess champion this year, as time will expire in 20 seconds. What a battle, David.
What a fight this has been. We see the England gambit to end the match here from Alireza Firouzja. He's fought so well. He's fought so hard. He came so close. But tiny, tiny margins here. He's just lost a pawn. But this game is inconsequential. It was all about that last scramble.
Yep. Yes, it was. It's almost like we have to play this out in ceremonial fashion. I wonder if they will just agree to some sort of a draw. There is a little bit of prize money on the line. Time has expired. I almost wish we had a huge button and like a bunch of slime just... But the players will play it out. We do have an England gambit on the board. Oh, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he fashioned out a chance. He made it. He made it happen almost, but couldn't find the killer blow with 1 minute left on the match clock. Who can blame him? Alireza's done everything right. Just Magnus, too consistent, too solid, and there we go.
A draw agreed, which means, ladies and gentlemen, Magnus Carlsen is the 2025-2026 Speed Chess Champion.
Wow, smile on Magnus's face. Standing ovation in the arena here in London. Well deserved. I think both of the players deserve that standing ovation there. Alireza gave his heart and soul. He's still looking back with regret, but I don't think he can regret too much.
He put up just about the greatest performance you could have asked for in a final. A razor-thin margin. The scoreline truly does reflect how close that match was. within 2, within 3, within 1, but Magnus Carlsen would not be denied.
It's that winning habit. Magnus just a bit looser, just a bit more relaxed at the key moments. Still chewing that gum, still with a big smile. Oh, poor Alireza. It's always heartbreaking, these moments. He's been here before, he's come so close before, but this was way closer than the Esports World Cup and the last Speed Chess Championship.
No, he's absolutely got it, and I mean, he's there for a reason. He believed he could win. You know, last year, it was over within an hour. Like, he never really got going in the 5+1. This time, he did get going. He led the match. He's the only player, right, who had a lead against Magnus, maybe throughout this entire, season of the Speed Chess Championship, but it just wasn't, unless you count Denis Lazovic 1-0, but I mean throughout the duration of the match. But then Magnus just pulled away at the critical moments, and Alireza could not overcome in the bullet.
Wow, what a way to end the tournament, a fitting end. It was so close, but the winner, it always seems to be Magnus.
Yes, we will go to John Sargent to fly us home.
Amazing. Thank you very much, everybody. Before we continue, can we please have a massive round of applause for both of our finalists? What a great match. Alireza, we all know it's not the result you wanted. You walk away with a chunk of prize money, you qualify to the Esports World Cup, and you gave us a final, heck, you gave us a semi-final and then a final where you pushed the world's best players all the way. I think it's been an incredible weekend for you. I know it's not quite the top step, but so many people here were rooting for you. Talk us through your feelings right now.
Yeah, I mean, I achieved what I wanted to get the spot, and today whatever would have happened was a bonus, but I managed to put a good fight, but I completely lost my energy after 5+1. Probably yesterday also was very tiring, so. But no, I mean, it was a great match. I think it was, I at least made a better performance than last year.
Look, it's a grueling format, no doubt. It takes a lot of stamina over the 2 days. And I also want to mention, you have a lot of fans in this audience and around the world. You're a fantastic player, a great human being. A lot of people look up to you, and I'm sure you've won a lot of fans over, even more fans this weekend. What message do you have to your fans and your supporters right now?
No, I think it was a great experience here with all the fans, and no, we... And no, it makes us feel special, at least. It's much better than normal tournaments, of course.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, your SCC runner-up. Let's hear it one last time for Alireza Firouzja. Magnus, we could say another year, another trophy, but the reality is it wasn't straightforward. There were some incredible games. Like you say, it was a lot of fun, a lot of double-edged games, and it was a wild ride.
Yeah, I hope this was somewhat as fun for you guys as it was for me. This was awesome. I think probably the most fun Speed Chess Championship match I've been a part of. And yeah, I mean, it felt as though I just outlasted him in the end. And as Alireza said, he was kind of not quite there at certain moments, which really made up for the fact that I was giving him a few chances. Let's say. I mean, just the number of decisive games in this match is just staggering, honestly. But I think he missed some chances early, like in the 3-1 portion. He could have easily taken the lead early on, and then I think after that, to say that I was in control would be a massive overstatement. But I always felt like I gave him a couple of games for free, essentially. And without them, the match would not have been as close. But regardless, I just enjoyed it, and I was thinking halfway, like, this is so much fun. Like, even if I were to lose, I can sort of live with it, because there are certain days when I can sort of control the match. Yeah. This was just not one of them. It was a combination of him being just too good. The brand of chess that he plays is too complicated, and me having like a good day, but not a top day. But it was awesome.
You mentioned. You mentioned losing. I'm going to ask you a question you've heard many times before, but you've played so many games this weekend against players of the younger generation, shall we call them. They always say, oh, they're knocking on Magnus's door. They've been knocking for quite a few years now, but you're aging like a fine wine. How many years is it going to take before we see the victory from someone else? What do you think?
Come on, I'm not that old.
That makes me feel better as well.
I honestly... I think if you look at my results in speed chess, then they haven't really declined. Yeah. No, it's just that there is some kind of combination of age and experience, right? Where you sort of peak, and I don't think I'm too far away from that. Today, again, he's incredibly good and incredibly difficult to play against. And it was an exciting match, but he never led for the last 20 games or so of the match. So.
Plus, you've got the dad buff now, right?
Well, sure.
All right, well, your supporters in the room, we know how many people support you worldwide. That number's only going up. Let's have a shout out to your fans, your closest supporters, the people who helped you through this weekend and just in general. Talk us through what your message is for them.
I would like to give a little message to the crowd here. You're allowed to root for the favorite sometimes. But I really, I just hope that we can keep having events like these. The Esports World Cup is going to be awesome, and hopefully the Speed Chess Championship in the years to come as well.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Magnus Carlsen, everybody. Okay, it's now time for the trophy ceremony. I would like to introduce the commissioner of the Speed Chess Championship, Michael Brancato, who will be presenting Magnus with his trophy that he is allowed to keep. This is, of course, the famous lightning bolt. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this before. So congratulations to Magnus. You are the SCC champion. And Danny, this is the Naroditsky Cup. It means an awful lot. Obviously, we don't have a new name on it, but we do have another 5-time winner being etched on it. Talk to us about the significance of this trophy, what it means to you, what it means to chess.com, what it means to the wider community.
It's the first year, obviously, that it has existed, but feels like it should have been here all along, because Danya's impact on the chess community will last forever. And so I think the cup going forward, we'll say it all, and it's right there at the top, the Naroditsky Cup. I think it looks amazing. It's also heavy, by the way. These interviews have been great, and the cup has gotten heavy. So I think it's amazing. I think it's ready for Magnus, and for a 5th time. I think I speak for a lot of fans. I'd love to see another Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru Nakamura final to decide to see who wins next. But who knows if we'll get that again? I don't know. But Magnus and Hikaru have both won it, and it just it means a lot to have this type of legacy continuing to be etched as we go forward. And hopefully, once we get to whatever the math is, 50 Speed Chess Championships from now, we're still given this cup. I'll still be up here, but who knows? This is for Danya, and it'll last on forever.
Amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, one last time, your Speed Chess Championship champion, it's Magnus Carlsen. All right, folks, what a weekend of Speed Chess we have had. Huge respect to all of the players for giving us some incredible matches all weekend. And once again, congratulations to Magnus for an absolutely imperious performance. To everyone here in the arena and everyone watching online, thank you so much for joining us in an incredible weekend. I also want to say, chess is at its best when it's shared. And you folks genuinely made this special. So a huge thank you to everything that you guys have done. It goes without saying as well, to put on an event like this requires lots of people behind the scenes. So I just want to give a massive shout out to everybody at chess.com, our partners, the production crew, 180 Studios for giving us this stage so that we could put this on for you guys. Absolutely phenomenal groups of people. Huge thank you to all of you. And wherever you are in the world, whether you're in London or watching online, stay safe, take care of yourself. Good night, and we'll see you next time. Take care!